everyone. Welcome to episode 2, man. It took me fucking long enough to get here, man. But welcome to episode 2 of In the Lab podcast, man. Uh, well, this one was gonna be put off for a little bit, man, because I know it's gonna get real deep and real, probably not controversial, but it may be, depends on how much I let my asshole mouth run. But yeah, man. This. We got my first 4-way going off in here, y'all. So before I even let them come on in and talking and everything, man, but let everybody know, man, we got TheTrueWarrior TTV, we got Beefcakethebutcher, and we got KarnageKingTv, man. They all stream on Twitch, man. It definitely check them out. They're definitely worth watching, man. They can describe them themselves here coming up here in their streams and everything. But I figure, we get a couple of old men up in here, man, and a youngin down there in the corner, and we'll get this talking about some certain things, man, that for people like I said, us older ones, we've been on this planet long enough and seen enough things and being raised a little bit differently than I'd say millennials, I'd say Gen Z, things like that. And just want to get this out here, man, just discuss some things. And there's going to be some ranting. There's going to be some complaining. There's going to be some things said that's probably going to offend some people whose balls haven't dropped yet. But it needs to happen, man. It needs to happen. So let me get everybody up in here, man. Got True coming on in, we got Beef coming on in, and we got Carnage, man. So, how are y'all, man? How y'all doing? How you feeling?
Good. What's up, Doc?
Fantastic.
All right. Beef over there flexing. I don't know what he's doing. But shit, man. I'm glad all y'all could make it, man. Make some time and stuff, man, so that way I could, pursue this and just have some other people come in and maybe I won't be the biggest asshole in the room. You guys can try to top me. We'll see.
Don't throw that challenge out there.
Yeah, honestly.
But anyways, man, so what we'll do is we'll start this thing off, man. Everybody's got some lives to get to today, so I don't want this to run too long today, man. The last one ran 2 hours with just me and Warrior. So I'm gonna try to cut it back, man. Like I said, if we gotta do a part 2, we're gonna do a part 2. So what we're gonna do first is, man, I'm gonna go ahead and head over to Warrior, man, and let him go first, and then we'll go around. But what I want y'all to do is basically say how old you are. We ain't women, we can say it. And then oh my God, I can't believe you even wanted me to put that out there. And then how many kids we have and their ages, and go ahead and go. So Warrior, what's up, man?
Yo, what's up? I am the fresh young age of 37. Oh yeah. Father of 2. I'll even tell you, my kids are 18 and 16. So my 16-year-old will be 17 in like 5 months. So little experience here, being as young as I am. So what was the last thing you wanted me to say?
That's it, man. That's it. Like I said, we're giving our resumes.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? We're giving our resumes right now.
Yeah, I'm young, so my memory's not that good.
So Beef's gonna be a short introduction, man. But what you got, Beefy?
Oh, I am the Beef. I am 23, no children, thank God. That's all I got.
But he's gonna leave it in every now and then with Bree and to see what happens. I mean,
of course. You gotta stir the pot every now and then.
So, all right, Carnage, man, what's going on?
So, man, I'm 35 or 36. I don't fucking remember. Don't pay attention anymore. I got 2 kids. One is 9, my son. We actually got the same birthday. That's kind of cool.
That's sick.
And my daughter is 5, and she is a handful. I'll tell you that for free. I don't know how you do it.
10 more years.
I don't know how you're doing it with the older kids. I'm already trying to lock her in her bedroom.
Well, I mean, I'm lucky, man, because I'll throw mine out here. I don't even know if I ever actually have, but I am the oldest one in the room, even though people tell me I sound like I'm the youngest. But I am 39 years old. I'm creeping on 40, man, almost there. This is a dumb age, by the way. Well, can't say I'm in my 40s, but I can't say I'm in my 30s either. I'm 39. But anyways, I've got also the most kids here, man. I have 5
No
kids
surprise.
altogether. 5 kids altogether. One's 19, boy. One's 18, boy. One is 15, boy. One is 11, boy. And then I finally had my baby girl 6 years ago. And she absolutely controls and runs every aspect of my life. Um, when it comes to the boy stuff, man, it was so easy. It was just aim your dick in the toilet, make sure you don't make too many messes, so your mother will kill you. But with her, it's so much more because I know for a fact that if daddy screws up, she's gonna be on the pole blaming me. So it's a whole nother. I can tell you right now from the like I said, the fatherhood experience. It's a whole new thing. I feel like I'm a brand new parent when it comes to a girl. So
Oh yeah, definitely big difference.
so
That's so funny.
It's not even it's nowhere near the same. Like it's not even like I said, even potty training and stuff, man. It's totally different. You know what I mean? Nothing is the same.
It's gonna be weird.
And then explaining that, like, well, why can't daddy show me how to use the potty stuff? And I'm like, daddy will go to prison.
You won't see daddy anymore.
Yeah, mommy's got to deal with this one. But yeah, so like I said, the reason why I wanted to do this is because I feel like that there is definitely been a major different gap, I'll put it like that, between how I'd say people like me and Warrior and Carnage and like I said, our parents were. I had young parents, but they were still born in the '60s. So I mean, I don't know if what generation that means. I don't think they were boomer, but
No, they're not boomers.
They just old.
Yeah, whatever is right after boomer. But I can tell you that McCord.
Or is that Gen X?
I think so. But my parents were heavily influenced by their parents. I mean, obviously, my grandfather was born in the 30s and stuff like that. So, it's just there's been a lot of generational differences between not only the different types of lessons and morals and life, codes and everything else that we pass on to our children, because it all came to us from our parents and of course came from their parents. And like I said, everybody's got different situations. I mean, maybe some people were raised by their grandparents, maybe some people were raised by, just a dad, just a mom, whatever it is. But I feel like that because of the way that society is now, that we're not, there's a lot of stuff that we're missing. There's a lot of things that we're not telling our kids that used to be told back in the day. I think there's a lot of things that aren't really respected or looked at as really doesn't matter anymore. You know what I mean? Because it's just, and once again, this is the old man coming out of me saying you kids don't understand, blah blah blah. But I mean, it is. I mean, we're totally different parents now in their 20s and things like that. Aside from the participation trophies and the timeouts and all the things like that, definitely, if you even brought up to them, when I was younger, I used to have to go out and get a Switch, or I used to have to go get, a paddle or a belt or whatever it was. And there's just different generational values. And I think that what has caused the divide is that people see a lot of that younger stuff that we went through at an older age and everything as I guess they would say abuse. If I'm being honest.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like if
yeah,
I tell them, like,
definitely.
yeah, I had welts on my ass, they'd be like, that's abuse, and that's probably messed you up in life. And I was like, no, actually, them beating my ass caused me to want to not go out and do all the other things that my friends were doing.
I'll say it's definitely a difference between like disciplining your child and beating them.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I think we're so used to saying that, like, yeah, my mama whooped my ass, but we don't mean actually, like, I'm not sitting there bloody, teeth missing and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I'm talking about, what I mean, just spank me when I needed it, and when and they still sat me down and still had conversations with me too. And I think that's where it comes into these days, where there's a lot of conversations, or maybe there's not, but I'm guessing that a lot of the millennial parents and even younger are, trying to tell them that don't do that, little Timmy, don't do this, don't do that. But it's just there's no, I don't know how to put it without it being offensive. So I'm just gonna have to put it like, you're not really giving your children anything to respect and or be afraid of. Because I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, with my kids, I haven't had to spank them since they were 4 years old. If I'm being honest, I have not had to put my hands on my children because I made them think that if you made daddy too angry, that he might spank you. Ooh, you know what I'm saying? So it was always that thoughts there, but never, I never had to do it because it was always like, well, when dad raises his voice, it's time for us to calm down. You know,
Right.
it's time to show. And also, I think that my kids actually told me, because of how I raised them, how I sat them down and I taught them about morals, respect, and family. And I actually did discuss with them, nothing is more important in this life than people that you consider family. And it doesn't matter whether they're blood. It doesn't matter if they're, your best friend down the street. If you consider these people family, then they deserve respect. You know what I mean? They deserve your love, and to honor them, and to never speak to them in a way that you wouldn't want to speak back to you. I do see some of those kind of old, lessons and stuff that the parents told you, and it sounds corny, but it works. And and after all of that, when I told them how important it is, and I also told them that when they did certain things in their life that you disappointed dad. When I told them that I was disappointed in them, and I could see that they would break down and cry and get upset and things like that, I knew that I was being a good father. Because I mean, like I said, they cared more about disappointing their parents than they actually cared about getting a spanking. It wasn't about, what I mean, who's gonna, daddy's gonna whip my ass today. It's about, I don't know if I can look my father in the face knowing what I went off and did with my friends.
Growing up, I would have 100% taken an ass whooping over that. I'm disappointed. 100%.
Yeah. Because like I said, so I don't completely disagree with the way that a lot of the, like I said, the millennial parents and things, but I think that when you don't, and this, like I said, this is my personal opinion. This whole, I should have said that at the beginning. Everybody on here is going to have their own personal opinion, and nobody's right or wrong. This is just on me. When there's no consequences behind it, other than you're going to sit in your room, but in that room they have 3 different systems. They have their
300
phone.
toys. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They have. Oh well, and then mom and dad will feel bad about it tomorrow because they really want to be my best friend and not actually my parent, and let me off groundation tomorrow. Now, here's the thing. Like I told y'all before, with my daughter, I've tried not to give in, because the next day I'll be like, I don't want her to be mad at me, and I'll be like, I'll need to let her off groundation. But I'm like, if I let up now, if I let up now, then it's just gonna be, I can get away with everything for the rest of my life.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like I said, just all of that spiel was to just get to the point, like. And we'll start with Warrior and work our way around, man. Like, how do you guys feel that like, what did your parents kind of instill into you, and did you use any of that to kind of to raise your children and those same values, or did you say, I'm totally switching it up and I'm gonna do it my own way?
Well, I mean, for me, I took some of what I learned, obviously. But as parents, one thing that we know is, as you're parenting a child or whatever, you can't parent every child the same. And there's no real handbook to parenting. I don't care what anybody says. You can buy every book under the sun. It doesn't matter, because if you've got more than one kid, you can attest to this too. The way you treat one child is completely different on how you have to deal with the other one. There's no just set in stone, everything works for everyone. Some things are kind of blanket type rules, and then there's other things you have to work with. So when it comes to my parents, like, yeah, I learned some things. I took some things from my mom, and father and all that stuff. So I took some of that, but then I also tweaked some of it, and I learned stuff along the way that I could apply and try to make it better for my kids. But yeah, as far as like getting your butt beat and everything, oh man, dude, I used to have to go pick my own switch. I used to have, man, I remember I went to pick a switch one time because I thought I was smart because she always had me go get my own switch. I was like, well, I'm gonna go get my own, but this time I'm gonna get one that's kind of like dead, so that way when she hit me, it would break. Yeah, it didn't work out too well. She was like, oh, you think you're funny, don't you? She was like, now go get one, and whenever you bring it back in here, it better be green on the inside, and you about to get some extra licks for that. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, okay, let me throw this out there. So while you were talking, Doc, one of the things I was thinking of is what is the difference between, so we're talking about, you know, punishments and different things like that. What is the difference in the way we were punished when we were younger that people are saying it's so bad now than what the police do to people?
Oh, shit,
like,
bro.
I mean,
well, that's gonna go into some whole other shit.
you know what I'm saying?
I mean?
Look, I'm not even talking racially, man. I'm just saying in general, right? Like, if you do wrong, you get punished. You know what I mean? And there's a whole mess. And like you said, I mean, we could dive deep into that, but I mean, it's just a blanket statement. How is it that society tells us one thing about children and tries to control how you parent your children, but then turn around and do the exact opposite for what they're telling you not to do? You know, don't beat your kids.
Force on us.
Yeah, but then a cop gets mad and angry and beats you. Like, I mean, you know, well, you can't lock them in a room because that's child abuse. But yet you put grown men, two of them, in a cell, like a 6x6, 8x8 cell, stuck together.
I'm getting so, like I said, and this is gonna, here comes Angry Doc, because I'm getting so tired of the term
Didn't take long.
Abuse. A child abuse? Are you? I can't. Okay, I'm not gonna curse. Are you kidding me?
Right?
These kids these days literally have more than they could ever want. My kids, there is seven big screen TVs in my house. There is, I can at least 8 to 9 video game systems. There is every game, they have all the newest phones. They have every luxury they've ever wanted in their entire life. Now, growing up, I literally had to split a pair of pants with my brother, jeans, because we had one pair of jeans. We had a couple of ugly ass khakis, 70s corduroy shits, and then when we would take turns sharing the pair of jeans. Now, that's because of how broke my family was and everything else. And I don't consider that child abuse, nor do I bring that up and say that, you know, that somehow I went without whatever. My parents had a roof over my head, had food in my stomach, and disciplined when I needed it and talked to me when I needed it. Yeah. So, in every way, shape, or form. Now, when I got older, I can tell you right now, because the people that don't know my background and things like that, I grew up in an environment where walking outside, you could commit a crime. Like, literally, you walk the hell outside. Somebody is outside slinging dope, and like, if I wanted to get down, I could get down. I could either use the drugs, I could get fronted some, I could flip it, I could whatever. So, being in the environment that I grew up in, there was points in times in my life at a younger age, at least. When I got older, I chose to partake into it because I saw how quick the money was and things like that. But when I was younger, what I did instead was I went back inside. And I spent time with my family, my mother, my father, my brothers, my sisters. There's also a family of 5. I had a bunch of brothers and sisters, and I would revert back into the nerd side of things, where I would go into my comics. I would go into my, you know, even though we were broke as hell, I had a rich grandmother in Michigan who always sent me down the new video game systems. So I could always revert into that, and I went towards that instead of, you know, oh, well, my mama's whooping my ass, so I need to go run these streets. I need to go out here and do, you know, crazy stuff and everything. Instead, I did what my father told me you should do, which is what all parents, because bottom line, because that's the thing is, I think that parents these days don't think that they have the right to tell their kids what to do because they think they might rebel and run away, or hell shit. And these days, let's be honest, grab a gun and go shoot up a school or something.
Right.
They honestly believe that they can't be real parents, that they have to talk to these kids like they're friends and give them leeway to do certain things. And what they don't understand is that, once again, like I said, there's no consequences to anything they do. And even if there is a consequence and you try to give them a consequence, like I said, they'll leave. I was deathly afraid of running away from my house because I knew my parents would eventually find me. It was there was no I'm gonna go to Timmy's house and this will teach you, and then I'll call 911 and tell them you're abusing me and all the other stuff. If you start off at a young age and you let your children know that they are loved, there is a reason why daddy's doing this. There's a reason why I want you to love, honor, and respect me. Why I want you to, everything that I've ever told you to do in your life is for you. It's for your better good. Daddy's not here for his own, his own needs and wants. I'm here to make your life better. So when I tell you not to do something, it's because I want you safe. It's because I want you to make the right decisions in life, and I don't want you to mess it up.
Right.
If I don't let you hang out with that certain kid in the neighborhood, it's because I know he's not doing the right things. I know that he's involved in some other dumb stuff, and they all think they're in a gang or whatever the hell. And I put it like right now, I got a 19-year-old son who has never broke a bone, chipped a tooth, gotten in a fight, never stole anything. Literally has never done anything wrong in his entire life.
Damn, you let him out of the house or what?
No, bro. He left the house, but he went off on his own. He went off and he talked to girls on his own. He went off and it was sociable and did things on his own. He didn't need his buddies around to back him up. But he'd made all these decisions, and at 13 years old, he told me what college he wanted to go to. He told me exactly what he wanted to do with his life. He told me how much money that he knew. He researched it and what he knew what he was going to make. I mean, he on his own. And like I said, I hadn't spanked him since he was 4 years old. This wasn't me aggressively beating him and trying to instill my messed up views into him and all these other things. He chose these paths on his own because I have if I had to show you right now, I have a giant. There's one thing on my wall in my living room, and it's a big wood plaque, and it says family. It says family, and that's all that matters, because when it comes down to your very last days on your deathbed, that high school friend you had probably ain't going to be there. That girl that you were in love with or whatever in middle school, whatever, probably ain't going to be there. It's going to be your family there with you. It's going to be the people that care about you and love you and want to see you do well. So that whole thing of that, like, say somehow if you put your hands on your child, that you don't love him, or that you want to hurt him, or that you get some kind of gratification from causing harm to him. I would rather literally make my son's butt bleed on my own than what anybody else out in this world out here could do to him.
Oh yeah, most definitely. What I'm saying?
He's not ready to go out and experience life. That's another thing. Life lessons. I've been through it all. Dad's been there and done it. And so when I tell you don't do this, it's because I already made that mistake, and I'll tell you exactly what happened to me. So, well,
it's like it even, Kathy says in the chat here that everyone, I think everyone wants to make life better for their kids, but then they tend to go too far and it turns in not preparing them. That's actually a very true statement, because a lot of times, I mean, yes, I think naturally as a parent, you want to make life better for your kids. You want them to go higher and further than you ever did, that's like a great achievement. But at the same time, you have to temper that. You can't want so much for your children and then give them everything thinking that just handing them stuff is going to work, because our job first and foremost is to be a parent, and that requires teaching and preparing and training our children. So like, for instance, here's an example. My daughter at like 13, I think it was 12 or 13, she started just doing whatever she wanted. It didn't matter what we said, what we did, whatever. So we sat her down and we were like, what's going on? What's the deal here? She was like, I just think I should be able to do whatever I want. And I kind of chuckled. I laughed at her. I said, really? I said, okay, well, I mean, I don't want to pay the bills around here. I don't want to go to work every day. I don't want to take you to school. I don't want to buy you clothes. I don't want to spend money on your shoes. What's that stuff that you said you wanted? I don't want to buy that. I was like, life is full of things that you don't want to do that you have to do. I was like, that's just the way it is, and I think, to Kathy's point and to what you're saying really is It's our job to teach them and to train them and prepare them, not be your friend. If I'm your friend, it's because we've gotten through most of this and now we can kind of chill and you know how to handle life. But always, I'm still your parent. I'm always going to be here. You're going to always have a question, and that's what we're supposed to do, man.
I mean, case in point, dude, it's gotten to the point to where it is commonplace for 30-something-year-olds to still be living with their parents.
Bro, don't get me
just
started.
a normal thing now. Like, he never got his shit together.
That's wild. That's
Like,
wild.
it's growing up. Let's put it like this. Once again, I'm gonna get Beefy in here soon because he's gonna have some different knowledge that we don't know. So but growing up, did Carnage Warrior? Did you ever see anyone? Did you ever know anyone that was in their 30s and still living with their mom and dad? You never saw that.
Go ahead, Carnage.
It was weird to see like an 18 or a 20-year-old staying with their, you know what I mean? As soon as we were in high school, it was like 18, 19, everyone had their own place. And that's actually my wife, Kathy, in the chat. We've talked about that a lot. That we just like you said, Doc, we got like 9 TVs in the house, all the video game systems, bunch of tablets, all the shit, trampolines in the backyard. We try to do really good balancing the electronics and stuff and keeping them outside and keeping them busy. But it's definitely like you give them all this stuff and then they kind of get spoiled and they're like, well, how come I can't have everything I want?
Yeah.
And then like you were saying, Warrior, you got to like, no, it's not, you know how much that costs to buy this stuff and how much I have to go to work. And you don't see that I go to work for 10 hours a day. And when I get home, they want to play or they want to wrestle and I'm just beat. Right. And then they're like, well, how come you can't play? And it's like, because Daddy just stood on his feet for 10 hours and now he's exhausted.
Yeah. I mean, I'll even say for me, like, I don't know, Carnage, you probably had this too, but like, if anybody was living at home when they were in their 30s, and I agree with Carnage, if you weren't out of the house by 20, you're a bum. But at 30, there's only 2 reasons why you should be living at home. A, you're taking care of one of your parents because they can't take care of themselves, so that's why you live with them. But you're paying a lot of the bills and you're taking care of stuff. You're not living off their Social Security check. Or B, you got some kind of disability or handicap that requires that parent to take care of you to where you can't take care of yourself. That was it. Outside of that, if you were still living at home, oh man, we clowned on you. We made fun of you. We joked on you because you were just.
Now I can tell you now there was like, somebody's drunk uncle. You know what I'm saying? That never really got his shit straight. He lost everything because he's an alcoholic. Like you would see that dude from time to time. But other than that, man, like it was not. Nobody made excuses for him back then. That's the difference too. Nobody was like, oh, he's trying to find himself and what he wants to do with his life. And bruh, like my dad kicked in my door at 17 and was like, what the are you gonna do? Like figure it out right now because I'm not going to continue to pay for you. I have 5 children. They kind of know what they want to do. You need to figure it out. Now, I made the dumb decision and went off and on my own, and I lived on my own, and I slept on dudes' couches and shit like that. I wish I had gone the way of what my dad presented me with. You know what I mean? Right. Go work with him and other things that could have happened. But, once again, I'm not even, as the oldest dude in here, I'm admitting the fact that, hell, through my 20s even, I made a bunch of stupid, dumbass decisions because I went against my father and my grandparents and the teaching. This was on my own, and I figured, well, he can't whip my ass no more, so I'm gonna go do what I want, and he can't keep me in this house. The cops said I can go, and I did, and because of that, I struggled for many years. I never really grew up. I didn't take anything serious, and the only thing that made me become a real adult, not by my age, a real adult, is that I had children. And I had a woman that I wanted to take care of and I wanted to be there for, whether it was going to work for her or whether it's staying at home and taking care of the children, which is what I do now. And I am prouder than any point in my life that I am a stay-at-home dad and I take care of all of these children. I got one in elementary, one in middle, one in high, and one that is going into his 20s. And I'm trying to get him to get out and get his own apartment and stuff because he's 19 still here. And I'm like, I get what happened here because short story behind that is that he was actually going to be a police officer, and he in our local area, actually a cop got murdered It actually at a middle school, trying to stop a weed deal. It was that's a whole other subject. We're gonna get into that stuff, but literally a cop got murdered over the tiniest bit of weed. And when that happened, my son came to me and said, "Dad, this is the first time in his life he ever came to me." He said, "I don't want to do this anymore. I don't, you know what I'm saying? It's just."
Well, you can't blame them.
Yeah, you know, and he's like, it wasn't. Of course, I always knew there's going to be dangers, but I've known police officers in our local area that had been a police officer for 30, 40 years, whatever, and they're going towards retirement, and they never had to shoot anyone, and no one ever shot at them. So obviously, every story is different. But when that happened, it became real for him. And so now where he's kind of figuring out where he wants to go and what he wants to do, because that was a job he told me at a young age. You know, I was going to go to school for law enforcement, and he was going to go to, you know, and be a police officer. But we're figuring that out now. But anyways, my children are my best friends, and I can say that not as a Gen Zer would or millennial these days. We're bestest friends, and we get on TikTok together. No, I mean I hang out with them. I do poop jokes and pee and all that. I do all this stuff with them and stuff. But when it's time for children to go in their rooms and, you know, and do their homework, and I said, listen, sit down on the couch right now. We're going to have a discussion about what you did at school today. And if it was something wrong, you're grounded. Give me your phone. I take the TV out of their room. This ain't just like I'm going to put them in the room and you guys just watch cable.
You can just take the power cord, man. You ain't got to take the whole TV.
Well, I mean, you know, I also like to, you know, look how strong Daddy is. I can hurt you. Look how I can lift this thing.
Oh wow!
Weird flex, bro.
But like I said, I just, you know, I go through it all, and like I said, I'm very proud to be that stay-at-home dad, and you know, like the wife goes off and she's the breadwinner, and people can say whatever they want to say about me and stuff and whatever. But I am actually home with my kids. I know every single one of their issues, their problems, everything they go through. I actually did teach my kids how to shave, which my father never even taught me because he was working 2 separate jobs and was never there. You know, I did almost everything that my dad never did with me, not because he didn't want to, because he couldn't. I've done all of those things with my kids, and it's made me more than happy, more than a you know, bringing home a ton of money ever could. So. But anyway, so what we're gonna do here, man, is the reason I got Beefcake up in here is he's been sitting in that corner just, you know, moving his hand around because he's used to jerking it right now. Like we're cutting in on his time.
You can't bring that up when we're talking about kids, man.
You know my girlfriend's here, bro. You know I'll be doing something else right now. Not today. Today's not a jerk.
Look at those forums, everybody. Look at those. Yeah.
But the reason why I wanted Beef here is because, like I said, he is younger. You said you hit 23 now. Is that what you said?
Yep, on the 5th.
So he hit the 23 years old. I don't know his situation, and that's what we're gonna ask him when it comes to his parents and, you know, how old they were, if he grew up with mom and dad, back and forth, whatever. But I feel like that he did kind of grow up a little bit different than us, only because of the generational differences. And so that's why I wanted him in here to kind of pick his brain about the different, you know, scenarios and situations that he grew up in, and to just see the difference between, like, oh yeah, this, when, you know, when I was younger, this wasn't happening, and for us, we would be like, that's crazy that it didn't happen. So yeah. So what was your kind of your growing up situation?
So my growing up situation kind of was sucked. To be honest, sucked, not a good time. But my parents split when I was 2. Met my stepdad when I was 5. So I've known my stepdad since I was 5. I call him dad. I haven't talked to my actual father in 8 years because that's a whole other issue. But I was born at a weird time because I remember like going outside, playing, doing outside activities, like be home when the lights come on, like that kind of stuff. But then I also came in right on the cusp of where like technology was the big parenting thing. It was like, just get your kids to sit in front of the TV and they won't talk to you for 4 hours because Dora's on, or that kind of stuff. So I've had like the balance growing up, but definitely a lot different than when you guys were growing up, when it was all outside all the time. You're like, you sit inside with your comic books. Like all of the comic books I have ever read, like I have read paper once, but they were all on a computer.
Oh God,
it's easier.
Yeah,
do everything on a computer.
Well, I'll definitely say, yeah, he's got to be a lot different than we are, because I don't know about the rest of you, but I didn't watch Dora. I watched He-Man, Thundercats. Dora wasn't, My Little Pony's not something I watch, but I mean, if your mom set you in front of Dora for 4 hours, Beef,
it explains a lot.
It does explain your affinity for those little pink book bags.
Of course.
And why he pulls up the map all the time, like.
I still
Where's my backpack,
bro?
I still don't know what swiper no swiper means, but he keeps saying it to me.
Hey.
It's not a Tinder thing. It's not a Tinder thing.
So I'm glad that you brought that up, though, because I think that, and like I said, once again, he goes the controversial take for Doc to throw up there. Parents these days, through I'd say the 2000s and on, are just lazy. You're honestly lazy. And the reason why I say that is just because instead of actually sitting your children down and having conversations with them and discussing things with them about life, about why you should do this, why you shouldn't do this, about what matters, all these things, they expect YouTube and they expect television programs and they expect, because I mean, back in our day, Sesame Street was there. I mean, these different shows and stuff that we could have watched and learned things from. And that's cool. We got colors. We got numbers. We got a couple of sing-songy things from Big Bird and shit. But we didn't get life lessons. You know what I'm saying? Right. We didn't get taught about, don't do this. Otherwise, you'll end up in prison. Cookie Monster wasn't talking about that. You know what I'm saying? So it's got to the point to where it's just like, I got other things going on in my life. I got to deal with my baby's daddy. I got to deal with this. I got to deal with all this, everything. So you kids just go in a room, turn on YouTube, and there's no restrictions behind what they watch. I see. That's the thing is I've had to go into my daughter's room and I've had to put on, the restrictions for YouTube because she'll end up on some stuff. She's looking up Sonic. My daughter loves Sonic the Hedgehog. I love it so much because she loves retro stuff and everything Daddy's doing with the retro stuff. She's loving it too because I'm bringing home Ninja Turtles and everything else. She knows the theme song. It makes me cry. But anyways, it's
the original, Doc, not the new stuff.
No.
The original, the OG.
She's all about it, man. Like she knows the difference between the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and the later generations. Like I'm a proud father at that point when I teach her all these 80s things.
Good job.
But I've had to go in there and turn the restrictions on because she'll look up Sonic. She'll look up Sonic the Hedgehog, right? And it'll bring up some weird ass anime made shit where some dude literally is like Sonic the Hedgehog's getting his head ripped off and getting murdered.
Oh yeah,
like just bleeding everywhere, and it's just, go ahead.
To be fair, I grew up in Happy Tree Friends was a thing. I don't know if any of y'all ever heard.
I kind of know what you're talking about. I've seen it, but I never really
Happy Tree Friends is the most messed up animated thing you can ever watch in your entire life, and we watched that religiously, and it was awesome, and I loved it.
But see, here's the thing, though.
There was a show, a YouTube series called Dumb Ways to Die, and I can still sing you the theme song. Oh, okay. And it was awesome.
See, and that's the other difference is that kids these days are exposed to a lot of younger stuff, a lot of older stuff at a younger age. They, they've witnessed deaths. They've witnessed hell. They probably witnessed sex. They got literally have a show on MTV called 16 and Pregnant where they basically celebrate the fact that you got pregnant early. You know what I'm saying? Like it's basically, it's the thing to do. And guess what? If you do it, you might make money and get on a TV show.
Yeah, I had a friend in high school whose dream was to be on that show.
That's what I'm saying, man. And once again, this is gonna be all this boomer. Okay, boomer. It's gonna be all this old guys ranting and raving. But you know how many people were pregnant when growing up in these earlier days in the 60s and 70s? Barely any, because their parents told them wait till marriage. It's you can wait it out. I don't give a damn how horny you get. Go hump your stuffed animals. Go do whatever you got to do. Boys especially, go do stuff off in your socks. You know what I mean? Well, we'll wash the socks. It's fine.
I'll throw this in there too. Even if they did, because it was that time,
it was taboo.
It was taboo, but they made it work. Somebody went to work. Somebody worked a job, took care of their kids. Nowadays, it's like, I got you pregnant. I'm out. And then you just leave and you don't know your kids. You don't see your kids. I mean, like, dude. I mean, I don't want to bring this up, and Beefy don't need to talk about it, but he did mention his dad hasn't talked to him in 8 years. Like, what kind of a father doesn't talk to their own kid in 8 years? You know, it's like, it's just the mentality nowadays, man. It's just kind of messed up, you know?
My dad's not a normal dad, to say the least. He was in and out of prison, meth, abuse, abusive, the whole work. So I made that decision at 14 to not speak to him anymore. I made that decision for myself and my younger brother. It's also
for your own benefit.
Yeah, for the benefit of everybody involved.
That totally makes sense, man. But
yeah, that makes sense for sure.
Where dudes is just like, I'm not ready to be a father, but I'm also not ready to strap up.
That's a big thing that annoys me. Is if you're gonna do the act, you have to be ready for the consequences.
Yeah. And like I said, these things aren't being discussed and talked about at home. What they're being talked about, like I said, they're being talked about as sex ed at school. I think they're doing sex ed now these days at like 4th grade.
It's very early, early, and they show everything.
Wild. That's wild.
I mean, it's so detailed now. It's almost like porn in the classroom. No joke. My kids told me about it.
Dude, I will tell you, my story is kind of like Beef. So, like, my dad and mother split up when I was, like, 1. And I met my stepdad when I was, like, 2. And so that's why I always called my dad, because that's just who was there. And he was great. He took care of me. He had 2 boys, but we only got him on the summers. So I have 2 half-brothers, or I guess they're step-brothers, but I considered them brothers. And we only seen him on the summers, so I was pretty much an only child. I had all the video games, but I was always outside till the lights came on, or the street lights go out. And then my dad actually passed away when I was 17, and I've still never met my real father, so he hasn't taught me a damn thing. He's never even tried to contact me. As far as I know, he named his second son Daniel, maybe because he missed me. I don't know. But so now my mom stays with me, and I help take care of her, and she's been with me for like 7 years now, and she still gets child support from me, man. I'm fucking 35 years old.
But see, that's the concern here, man, and that's what people don't realize is that as we get older, as you know, when you get older and you eventually have kids and things like that, if things stay the way they are, if things keep going the way they are, where, like I said, it's normal to be in your 30s, whatever, still living with your parents and blah blah blah, there's not going to be a place for any of us to go to our kids. You know, we can't go to our kids' homes and things like that. Those kids are still staying with us. We're never going to be able to retire. For one, I'm going to be in my 70s still working because, you know, well, not my kids, but I'm saying, like, in this scenario, I'll never be able to quit. I'll never be able to just be like, oh, well, you know, I'll just move into my my kid's house and have them take care of me and stuff, and I know that they're financially secure and they can help me and blah blah. No, I will never ever have to be able to stop being a parent. I'll always have to take care of them. And I think that's the problem that people don't understand is that if you never make your kids grow up, then there's nothing for you to go to. Basically, when you die, you have homeless kids. Mm-hmm. And by kids, I mean they're in their 30s going into their 40s. We're just gonna have a bunch of 40-year-old homeless dudes looking for couches to sleep on, or whatever, you know. Well, I see now they get roommates with it, so it's literally like 5 dudes living in like a 2-3 bedroom apartment, all in their 30s going into their 40s, still trying to figure out what they're gonna do, bitching about how they can't make assistant manager at McDonald's. Man, Kathy, that bitch, really man, she won't give you the chance.
There's this really
it's just like, if any point in time your parents had warned you and told you and showed you what life would be like when mommy and daddy isn't there to take care of you anymore, you would have been prepared for this. You would have been and like I said, you know what? If you don't want to work, this is gonna be the most messed up thing. If you don't want to work, you better have a spouse that does. Whether you're a female or you're a male, you better go get you somebody that's gonna work. So that way, when your parents that came to you and they come to you and they say, I took care of your whole life, I let you live with me way past when you should have, blah, blah, blah. I can't take care of myself anymore. I can barely wipe my own ass, son. Can I come and stay with you and your wife? you can do the respectable, honorable thing, and you can show your parents how much you love them and say, "Come on,
Put
come
them
on
in a
Dad.
retirement home.
Come on in."
Yo,
You know what I mean?
so check this out. I just tagged you guys in our chat with a link that kind of shows a generational comparison chart. Like, so Doc, you may want to use this to kind of go over some of the things, but if you read these, it goes through a progression that kind of shows how parenting, leadership, all this stuff that they mentioned, how it's transitioned throughout the generations. Like just the parenting and childhood section, I'll just give you the two polar opposites. The first one is like anybody born, you know, between 1927 and 1945, like strong nuclear families, parenting was associated with discipline. Like that's the parenting and childhood aspect. But then you jump to Gen Z, which is now 97 to present. It says both parents work, kids are raised by grandparents and other caregivers, like, you know, daycare centers or a nanny or whatever, and constantly exposed to media. So you go from one section where there's a strong family bond where we discipline and we parent and teach, to your parents are never around, they're both working, you're being raised by grandparents or some other person, and media is heavily influencing your mentality, your direction, and your teaching. Like they're just total opposites.
Well, I think one issue that arises from the Gen Z thing is that a lot of families can't be sustained off of one income.
Right,
So
most definitely
itself. So it forces people who necessarily don't want to work, would prefer to stay at home with the family, to have to work to put food on the table. Which
but see, like I said, my father passed away when I was younger, but he taught me a really good work ethic. And I know that like I wanted my wife to be able to stay home and take care of my kids because I didn't want them in daycare. So in my head, I was like, I got to work harder. So I worked 2 jobs to get the things for the house. I worked a bunch of hours. You know, I was gone from 6 a.m. till 10:30 at night, 4 or 5 days a week to get on our feet, just to get those things set up. And so then when my mom moved in, now my wife, my mom, and both my kids stay home, and I work. You know, I mean, they watch kids, and she shuttles kids to and from school to make like grocery money and help out a bunch and to keep them busy. But then, you know, they get to take care of the kids, so it's a lot easier for us to be able to, like you were talking, like Doc said, I spanked my kids when they were like 6 and my daughter's 5. She probably got spanked once last year. But every time Dad says, "Hey, do you want me to whoop your ass?" They stop trying to cry because they know if they keep crying, I'm not going to be happy. But they suck it up and they hold it in and they take a deep breath and then they think. And then, you know, after they calm down, then we talk about it. You go, "Hey, you know what you did wrong. We've been telling you you can't do that and you just did it again. So why would I be happy?" And they're like, "You're right." And they don't like us being unhappy, like you said, like Beef said. He would rather get his ass whooped than disappoint him. And so we, you know, I have that mentality to work really hard to give my family, kind of like what the wife said, you know, not necessarily what I didn't have, but to be able to have that interaction with them and be there.
Well, I can tell you one thing that's different from even our parents' generations to us now is that's the difference right there. Is that back then, how many times did you get hit and then say, you know, why do you want me to do that, or why did you spank me? Because I said so. There were so many times where we got spanked or we got disciplined or whatever, and actually we had no idea why this was happening. We were just like, well, I did something she told me not to do. Didn't, you know, or he or whatever, and didn't really explain it. I think what the difference is that from that generation to this generation, we have learned to sit down with our kids and explain to him why this is happening, why I'm going to do this, because I've done that with my kids. They sat there, no, and it's the worst thing in the world to have to sit there and know that I'm going to spank my child now. But if they don't realize that with what they do in life, there's a consequence to it. And it's not just dad getting loud, and it's not just dad getting, you know, a little angry with him, and then later on says come to dinner and then ice creams for dessert, and they just forget about it and move on. They have to know that life is pain. I mean, really, life sucks. I mean, even the way that we, it's built society and stuff, the way that we have to go out here and earn a living to have all the things that we want in life. And it's a struggle. It's horrible. With back-breaking work out here sometimes. I mean, we're just, we wake up some days and don't want to be awake. Life is pain to your body, to your mind, to everything. And if you really believe that the worst time of your life was when you live with your parents and they give you everything they wanted, but eventually you had to do some of the things they told you to do, and I can't wait to get on my own, I'm gonna do whatever I want, and all this. If you really believe the worst time was because dad popped you a couple times because he didn't want you putting the fork into the electric socket. Like, I mean, come on, dude.
I'd like to hear Beef's perspective on this though, because like me and my wife got lucky because we weren't really dating when she got pregnant with our son, and so we never talked about having kids. We didn't know how we were gonna parent or nothing like that. And I'm 35 or 36, I already forgot, and she just turned 30. So I kind of had that worry, like, oh, there might be that little bit of that age gap. And she came from a divorced household, and we kind of lucked out that we have like the same like ideas. Like, we're not gonna intentionally just beat them. We're not gonna put them in front of electronics. We kind of got lucky and had a bunch of the same like parenting methods. And of course, sometimes like she's just having a bad day and she's frustrated, so the kids will do something little and she'll kind of snap a little bit, and then I can come in and be like, hey, that was kind of uncalled for. And then she'll instantly calm down and we can tell the kid like, hey, that wasn't you. It's just us having a bad day, or vice versa. Like, I get home from work and I'm stressed out and they do something little and I'm like, hey, knock it off. And then she's like, hey, what's that about? Like, they didn't deserve that, And we kind of got lucky where it worked out that we kind of have the same things and we can work good together. So I was wondering, like, if you guys are talking about having kids, have you guys talked about any of that kind of stuff? Where you're like, I'm going to beat them and put them in the closet, fuck them. And he's like, well, no, they're going to be in bubble wrap. Like,
give them the Harry Potter treatment.
Yeah.
Both of us. What's your plan when it comes to discipline, B? That's pretty basically it. Yeah.
Well, so as of right now, we both are young and trying to figure out all of our stuff. So we don't want kids, but I am bad about this because I feel like I would have like a firm line between being physical for discipline and being like mental, I guess, because you gotta have a balance. And one of the things is like if I wish my parents would have done, like you said, the because I said so, is like a lot of the times if I did something wrong and I got punished or spanked or had to bite the bar of soap or whatever it was always just, you can't do that because I said so. It was never explanations. And so I kind of grew up resenting that. And in my teen angst years, I hated my whole family so much because I just resented all of the because I said so and stuff. But now as I get older, I'm like, I get you guys did it wrong, but I understand why now. So it makes sense as I get older.
Yeah, it's a lot easier as you're older to look back. And now that you're working and you went through school and you're doing this stuff and you have that job, and when you get home, you're stressed out. Like I was saying, I come home from work and I can look back now and see where when my mom got done, and she was actually a roofer. So when she got done roofing for 10 hours and she walks in the door and I'm like, hey, what's for dinner? What took so long? How that's instantly going to like set her off a little bit, and have her be like instantly mad. Like I just worked 10, 12 hours to pay for all this. And the first, not even, hey, how you doing? Just, hey, where's my dinner? Like I can see now, like if I walked in and my kids did that, it pissed me off.
See, I have a thing where I'll warn my family because we have like a group chat when we're all out of the house. And if I'm having a bad day, I'll text them and I'll be like, hey, I'm in a really bad mood today. I advise leaving me alone.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't, and I'll blow up on them. And they're like, why are you being mean? I was like, I warned you. I done told you.
Beef, let me ask you this, man. Because like I said, you did grow up though in a different type of, and I guess we'll call it the social media lifestyle.
Oh yeah.
Do you feel like since you are going to be, when you do have kids, you are going to be a young parent in these days and age, is that you've gotten more pressure on you to not, even if you wanted to not spank your kid, to not do the way that you would, even if you believe that, you know what I mean, like it needs to be, you know, discipline needs to be this way or the other. Do you feel like that basically society, social media, television, all of these things, do you feel like that they have told you that this is the wrong way to be? You need to be the new way, all of us, like us young people, we're doing it better these days.
Mm-hmm.
Do you
100%.
feel like that this has been like, well, this would put pressure on you to not, even if you wanted to do those things, to do them? Instead, you just be like, we can't, because this is what everybody our age is doing.
Oh, 100%. I mean, the way that everything is with everybody having so much access to the internet, social media, whatever platforms you use. I mean, you see people getting like pushed on TikTok or YouTube, and everyone's freaks out like they just got punched in the face. And so, I mean, if you try to discipline your kids, especially in public, like say you take a 7-8-year-old to the store and they're knocking over everything, touching everything, running off, just being hooligans, and you wanted to give them a little tap on the ass, someone's going to call the cops on you.
Yeah, that's yeah.
You know, somebody's going to call, your CPS is going to be at your door. Nobody's going to care about your side. They're just going to be like, oh, well, you put your hands on this child. And you're like, yeah, well, he was causing hundreds of dollars worth of property damage at a store. You want me to just let him run around like a douche?
And like you said, if it's just giving him a spanking in the store, like that should be all right. I mean, don't go up and just belt him in the face and be like, hey, you little fucker, what are you doing?
Right.
But if they're just, I mean, because I did it, my son was like 4 and we were at Walmart and he was doing the same thing, just screaming and crying. And I was like, hey, man, if you don't settle down and just sit in the cart and be quiet now, because you don't get to walk around no more, it's time to settle down. He started screaming and he swung at me to like hit me. Like, no, you don't tell me what to do. And so I grabbed him by his arm and I cracked him in the ass just a little bit. Mm-hmm. He started crying. I put him in the thing and some lady looked at me and she goes, excuse me, you just hit your son? And I was like, you fucking want some too? Because I was just in the mood and I was like, I got spankings for everyone, lady. It's just a fucking spanking.
To be honest with you, you know what I'm saying? Like that was kind of how it was back in the day. You know what I'm saying? Like back in the day, if you was acting up in stores, even the 80s, man, if you were in a store acting up, literally, I think at one point I ran away from my parents one time. I think a dude I didn't even know blocked the aisle so that way my parents could catch up to me, because parents used to be like, yo, if they did this to me, I'd want some help too.
Yeah, definitely.
So like I said, back in the day, we all as parents, you know, we all kind of knew what was going on because we had been there and we had done that. Now these days, everybody's got a different viewpoint and a different thought about how to be a parent, that you can't even parent your children the way that you want to in your own household and do this in the things, because if you happen to do it out in public, your own, you know, the way that you feel like this is how I'm going to raise my child, if that person doesn't like the way that you do it, they feel like they can chime up and say what they want. Now, that is a perfect lead-in for me to go into social media and loudmouth assholes having the way to get their idiotic thoughts out that we didn't have to deal with going through the 80s and 90s. And like now that there's Twitter, there's Instagram, there's all these things where basically complete morons. And I don't, like I said, I don't care who this offends, complete morons and the idiots of society get to go online and say whatever dumb shit comes into their head. Doesn't matter how stupid it is. And other people will go. This is how flat earthers happen, by the way. But that's another conversation. It's just, I think the world's flat. And there's like 500 other people going, I think so too. And then all this became a thing. So the thing is that back in the day, there was always a local neighborhood dumbass who had stupid things and stupid thoughts and would say these things. And we'd all make fun of them and go, ha, 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 whatever. And we walk on. Now these people have social platforms to say and do these things. And what told me that this is a whole world at this point of participation trophies, of people telling you that you can do whatever you want. You can be whatever you want. And if anything ever offends you and anyone ever makes you angry, speak up. Tell them. Don't put up with that. How I know that all of those people are running social media is this cancel culture. The thing that this is even a term cancel
So
culture,
dumb.
which means people who have apps, they're not in the entertainment business. They are not a doctor. They are not anyone higher up in social statuses. Little ignorant dumbasses, 18, 19 years old, Gen Zers that grew up their whole life privileges, who don't know any better because their parents didn't teach them a damn thing, so they were taught by their buddies, get to go online and say, I don't like what this famous person said. We should all get together and not let him be famous anymore. Bitch, you don't work in Hollywood. You ain't a motherfucking agent. You are nothing. You still you
See, yeah,
work
and
at
that kinda
McDonald's
goes back to,
part-time.
like, having no consequences for your actions. So, like, I'm sure when you guys were all in school, even you, Beefcake, being a little bit younger, like, if you said some stupid shit, somebody was gonna hit you.
Yeah, really.
Like, I got jumped when I was younger. I thought we were gonna, like, WWF wrestle, and I was like, all right, me and this kid are gonna fight. And then he started punching me in the face, and his two buddies jumped on me, and they beat the shit out of me for like 30 minutes. And I was like, oh. And he goes, yeah, that's why you don't talk shit. And I was like, oh, okay.
There used to be, once again, there used to be consequences.
Yeah,
now
I've
you can
been
just go on
jumped.
social media and say anything.
That's what I mean. So, like, you can talk all that shit now, and you don't get punched in the face for it, because that's like frowned upon.
And I,
See, I was the guy
we
that I
need it.
still punch people in the face for it, though.
Oh yeah.
I didn't care.
I mean,
Right.
but that also, once again, we're gonna go back to we're gonna go to the generational things, man. It's back in the day. My parents taught me, because his parents taught him, my father, that if you had a problem, if you had an issue with somebody, take it to the yard. You know what I mean? Handle that thing with your hands. You did no guns involved, no nothing like that. If it's your best friend in the world, take that thing to the yard. You're gonna win some, you're gonna lose some. But at the end of that fight, you know, you work that stuff out. Some of my best friends, I slammed to the ground as hard as I could because I was bigger than them and I could pick them up. So I mean, I messed up some people in my life because of, you know, we couldn't get over just the arguing part. And like I said, I wish that was a thing these days. But the problem is that, once again, I'm gonna have to do so much editing on this, y'all. But it's the pussification of the nation. That basically, don't ever let anyone put their hands on you. They do not have the right to touch you, to ever do. If that was never a thing, if it never came out, if parents looked their kids in the eye and said, if you do something stupid, if you say something stupid, mommy and daddy cannot save you. Someone's going to punch you. And if that was relayed to these kids at a younger age, they would know that there is consequences for doing the dumb things that they do. They wouldn't be this entitlement. That's what it is. This entitlement that they feel that they have. Because let's go on social media, and I don't like that this famous person said something that doesn't fit with my core values. And so let's cancel him. And then they'll get like 900,000 likes and everything. Is yes. That's not the way things are this day, boomer. You can't be like that.
Yeah.
And all these things they have. You're not. You're like I said. You're not an influential person. You're not. These aren't the influencers that are saying these things. These are normal, regular, everyday people who feel like you offended me, so now I'm going to get rid of you. You don't deserve to be famous anymore. You don't deserve to be an influencer anymore. You don't deserve to be anything that you work for, that you busted your ass your whole life to. You don't get to be that anymore because you said something I didn't like.
Right. Well, and the other thing too is people are so self-entitled that you can't make a mistake, but I can. You can't have faults, but I can. Like, you've got this selfish mentality that says it's okay for me, it's not okay for you. And almost everybody walks around with that mentality. Nobody thinks about, you know, how does my actions affect others? Because people have been taught and trained to be like exactly what you're saying, Doc. Don't put your hands on me. I'm special. I'm this. I'm that. Yada, yada. Don't say anything to hurt my feelings. You know, what happened to the day and age where it used to be you give respect and then you get it? Nowadays, it's people walk around with their head held high like, you owe me respect and I don't have to give it to you, but you owe it to me because I'm me. Like,
My mommy told me
understand
that my every day I put on my magical sparkle panties and I can rule this world if I want to. And it's just like
Right?
there's like I said, it sounds like a good thing. We were told even when I was younger, tell your kids they can be anything that they want to be. They can be whoever they want. They can be president if they want to. Well, the fact of the matter is, the harshest, realest matter is, some of y'all's kids are dumbasses.
Mm-hmm.
Some of y'all kids are never going to be anything more than the drive-through manager down the street. And it's just, you better just be glad they have a job.
And that drive-through manager should only be worth $12 an hour.
You know what I'm saying? So
one of the biggest issues I have with that is, I hate the you can do anything, you can be anything. Like I get giving your kids like dreams and aspirations and shit, but my parents were like, yeah, you can do anything within reason. You're never going to be a 6'6" black dude playing in the NBA. You're 5'9".
Bro, at this stage though, you can get the surgeries done. Just saying.
Dude,
I mean, you're right. I could. I don't have that kind of money though.
Dude, I'm 5'3" and I wanted to play in the NFL. I never got over 160 pounds. There ain't no way I'm fucking playing football.
Nope. Exactly.
I played young league, like Pee Wee, and the year after or whatever. That was it. I came back the next year, dude, and everybody's a foot taller than me. I was like, I'm out.
Yep, I'm gonna die.
And I wanted to beef. I watched Beef this too. Is anyone in this stream right now, and especially like Beef, ever got a participate? I can't even say the word.
Oh hell yeah, I did. I got so many motherfucking participation trophies and medals, man. I got stickers. Oh yeah, I got a
79th place trophy.
Fuck, dude, I didn't even place. I was like out first round in this karate tournament I was in, like first grade. I still got a trophy. Still said my name on it. God. Fucking threw it away.
When I played like Pee Wee football, I got a participation trophy in a sense because we lost like the first 4 games, and then our coach turned it around and we won all the other ones. And we didn't make it to the playoffs because somebody that beat us week 1 had the same record or whatever, however that works. Yeah. So then he was like, hey, man, I'll get you guys something little because you guys won 8 in a row or whatever. And so he just went and got some little fucking dink trophy with our name on it. And he said, because I'm just proud of you guys. You lost on bullshit week 1. Like, if we would have went to the playoffs, you guys could have done well. And
I think that's justified, though.
But it wasn't like he wasn't like the league handing it out. Like, everybody that fucking played, here you go, just for showing up.
Right.
Dude, I played to some of my brother's sporting events, like when they were younger, and they wouldn't even keep score. They're like, we don't keep score because we don't have winners or losers. And I'm like, you're fucking stupid. There's a winner, there's a loser. If you're a loser, work to get better to beat the winners. That's how you become better at life.
Once again, see, this leads, I love when we have these conversations because it leads back to the earlier topic. Because there's no such thing as a loser, the 35-year-old dude still lives with his mom because he's never actually heard that damn term.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? He's got nothing to why? Why would I strive for anything? Because I'm still going to get what I want. Mommy and daddy will still give it to me.
Yep.
And why would I try to be the best when I can just be, like I said, even we'll take it back to the gaming thing. The fact that there was ever a term called try hard, that was ever invented, going, oh my God, you actually try it this game? You actually care about winning and losing and stuff? Little bitches, I'm just hanging out and having fun. I'm like, well, you must enjoy having a KD of -2 and going 15 losses in a row. But I'm sorry, I don't live like that.
I'm not gonna lie,
you're ruining my experience. So get the hell out of here.
The only person I've ever met, honestly, that honestly doesn't care if they win or lose, they just have fun, is my wife. Like,
yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, like it kind of annoys me a little bit because I'm like, I have a hard time understanding how you don't try to win, you just have fun.
Bro,
I mean,
they don't try to win at life though. See, because that's the thing, is it isn't just video games anymore. Because actually, we've got to the point in time in life, and this is why we're all streamers here right now. Video games are life. Video games are literally life. We do it all the time. It's all we think about. It's all we want to do. It's our relaxing getaway, even though a lot of times it drives us completely nuts. Video games are life. So if you're not trying at video games, you're never going to try at life. And that's what the whole reason why I wanted to even do this podcast, man, is that there's nothing being taught to children these days to ever have to earn anything. Not their income, not their wins on video games, because now you can cheat, you can do whatever you want to get what you want. Even streamers and stuff. I've seen streamers with 10,000, 20,000, viewers at the time, and they suck at the game. But people think it's hilarious to hang out in there and watch them suck.
Yeah.
So you don't even have to be good at the games anymore to make money.
This will be a good generational difference. So like when you were talking about like mommy and daddy giving you all the money. So my parents, when I was younger, if I needed money, like they would give it to me, but I hated. This is just a personal. I despised asking them for money. So as soon as I turned 14, I think it's like 14 and 9 months in Michigan when you can get a job, I got a job. Just because I didn't want to be one of those people relying on mommy and daddy's credit card. And it sucked because I'd get up for 6 a.m. workouts for football. I'd go to school. I would go right to practice. I'd get out of practice at 4 o'clock and I'd be at work till midnight. And I just did that like 5 days a week from like 14 till I went to the Army at 17, and then haven't stopped working except for COVID since. And it sucks.
Yeah, so it's funny we should be talking about this because I literally just thought earlier today, because I got home from work and had some other things to do around the house. I'm getting ready to get my nephews here, maybe 15, 20 minutes or so. I was thinking to myself, yo, my grass needs mowed. I pull in, I'm like, God, dude, I got to cut the grass. And I'm like, where are the neighborhood kids that used to walk around when the grass got tall and be like, yo, knock on your door, can I cut your grass?
You know who I got who actually comes out and cuts my grass now? A dude in his 20s and stuff who never got his life together, who takes his damn lawnmower from his dad and comes knocks on my door like, hey man, I got your yard for like $20. And I'm like, dude, do it. And then I'll tell you whether that's worth 20. He actually did a good job, and I gave him the 20. And I told him, I'm like, bro, landscaping companies are hiring. Get out here and do it. You already doing it.
Yeah.
Go get your income.
You could probably make $15, $20 an hour landscaping.
And
they're on a fucking riding mower.
Bro, he's walking around the neighborhood, pushing the lawnmower all around. Like I said, a 20-something-year-old dude knocking on doors. And he doesn't, let's put it like this. He don't look he don't look approachable. You know what I'm saying? This ain't like a regular dude. Dude come out. Did he tell me? He's like, yeah, man, I'm doing this. I'm a felon. I got this and that. I'm like, man, don't tell nobody else that.
Yeah, don't tell nobody else.
Don't air that dirty laundry.
You already look like
if you're that kid, man. Obviously, he's not super intelligent, but all you got to be is like, hey, man, me and my family's going through some shit. I'm trying to get some extra money. Can I cut your grass for $20? And everybody would respect the shit out of it.
Yep.
Don't show up on my doorstep going, I'm a fucking felon. Like, well, get the fuck out of get away from me, man.
Right.
Cutting my grass.
Walk off my driveway, bro.
Get out of here.
Well, that right there goes to show you what we've been talking about for the last how long? Lack of parenting. Clearly, nobody's told this guy, that's not how you approach the situation. There's some things you need to say. There's some things you don't. Like, you need some direction.
I mean, bro, if you were on a landscaping crew and the head boss came up to my door and was like, yeah, we're doing landscaping in the area, blah, blah, blah. And I talked to that dude. I don't care if he's got 6 or 7 felons on his little thing. You know what I'm saying? He's keeping them in check. And he's, what I'm saying, they're all working on my yard and stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't need Pookie showing up at my door looking like he's about to shank me. I understand that you trying to get your life together, and I'm actually I give you some props, you know what I'm saying? But still, you out here with your pop's lawnmower, you're still living in their house.
Yeah, but also, like, what's he trying to get the money for?
Yeah.
To be fair about the living at home thing, I do still live at home.
Yeah.
Just to put that out there, guys. I know, but it's.
You waited a long time to say that out loud, though.
Hell yeah, I did. I was letting that one slide for a minute. But
he was building up the courage.
Yeah, I did.
But you do have ambition, and you do have things you want to do, though. This is a situation like, I'm going to live off my parents because I can. I'm going to do it for as long as I can.
Right. Like, I still work. I still pay my bills. Like, I still do all that stuff. But, like, it was just, I was trying to get to a point where I could pay off, like, the debt I had, like, my student loan debt, and, like, pay off my car because I didn't want to. And they were okay with it. They were like, as long as you're still making your payments, still doing your stuff, you can stay here because we get it. You want to start off like adulting, like moving out with no debt.
Bro, the fact that you even have student loan debt means you actually tried. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's the difference. Like if my kid comes to me and says, "Listen, I got so much student loan debt. I got so much. I mean, I got overdid on credit cards. Blah blah." The fact that he had credit cards, I'd be like, "I've been there, bro. Get in my house. Let's go." I understand you in your 20s and 30s, and you tried out here. You got things messed up a little bit. Come on in here for a little bit.
I think everyone's been there. I mean, even when all of us, I'm sure, True Warrior, when you got out on your own, you got some credit cards like, fuck, I can buy whatever I want. Oh, they just give me that card, they'll give me this, whatever. And all of a sudden you're like, fuck, I can't afford all these payments, and shit gets rough. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think everybody that goes, especially like I had like toys and shit growing up, but we didn't have a really nice house. We didn't have all that shit. So as soon as I was able to just buy whatever the fuck I want, I still do because got problems. But, but like I legit, dude, I'm like, I went to the bank to get like a little credit card just help build credit. They're like, oh, you want 10 grand? And I was like,
bro, here's the thing. Check that out. How I got into credit card debt? I was doing the honorable thing. I took my son on his 16th birthday to go open a high school checking account. They have these high school checking accounts that go off your account.
Yeah, to teach him or whatever.
Bro, I took him in there and I'm setting it all up and everything. I'm getting him his first job. I lined him up the interview. I got him ready for life and I got all that stuff. As I'm sitting there, the woman looks at me, brings my stuff up, and she goes, "You know you're eligible for a credit card with a $3,000 limit on it, right?" And I was like, whoa. What? Huh? I didn't even think about it. I'm like, so I just have an extra $3,000 to dip into whenever I need it. Like I can just have that
with that 22% interest rate,
bro. The card showed up a couple days. I left out of there calling my wife. I'm like, baby, our credit score is garbage. I don't have any idea how they thought that I deserved this card, but we got this.
But we don't know.
I got over. I was like, yo, we tricked them, man. Like I don't know what happened. Whose social security number they looked up, but it wasn't mine. So and funny. Of course, the more and more you dip into that side credit card, the more and more you kind of, get some things to, we need this for the house, we need this replaced, we need this.
My tire blew up.
You by that point in time, you're so
I just get bored and buy shit like this. I get bored, I get drunk, and I'm like, Amazon can just send me lights and a TV and a camera. Fuck it.
Yep.
Like thing of loops, send it on, dude. Let's go.
A lot of parents anymore. I mean, like when we first started out, you'd asked about my parenting, or like how my parents raised me, how much that carried over, and I said like some of it. So my parents, I will say, my mother didn't really take the time to teach me about credit or how to manage money well and stuff like that.
I still don't know how to balance my taxes.
I kind of had to learn that stuff on my own, but like I remember the struggle and how it affected, like Carnage was saying. I have been in that situation where they're like, oh, hey, we're going to give you a $500 credit card. And then like a year later, they automatically increase the limit to like $2,000. Yeah. And I'm like, now I was already maxing 500 and paying it off, but now maxing 2,000 and paying it off is a whole different ball game. I don't have 2 G's. I'm just
and then all of a sudden that payment's $350 a month.
Exactly. Yeah. And then you're building interest.
It was 29 at 500 and I was paying 150. And then all of a sudden they jumped it up. Like I had a $300 Capital One card. That shit's at like 7,700 now.
Yeah.
And dude, I just buy shit and pay for the kids. We want to go do this. We do that, especially in the quarantine. Like I'm trying not to let the kids suffer.
None of these things are discussed in school. That's another thing. None of these things.
No, they don't teach you none of that shit in school.
They'll teach you calculus, which you'll never use in your entire life. But they don't teach you how to get them. How to get a mortgage and how you make payments on it.
I still don't know how to do that.
How to set up payments and how to get loans from banks and how to establish credit. They don't teach you any of these things.
No, right.
And then you go out into the world and you get screwed over even as adults. I'll tell you right now, me and the wife thought we'd make a good decision and go to a car lot.
Have 5 kids?
And yeah, I had do what now?
I said you'd make a good decision to have 5 kids?
It doesn't matter. If you knew how much my wife made it's not a problem. But anyway,
Fair enough.
She handles the business and I handle the other business. You know what I'm saying? I didn't put in my own work to get my money. So
that's a different type of podcast.
Anyways, but yeah, we went to a car lot, right? I took like $3-4 grand with me. I'm like, we're gonna buy one of these, those cars that they have that someone traded in and they got it for whatever. And basically, I went in there and we saw the perfect family vehicle. And I was like, all right, this car is only $5,000. So I got $4 grand on me right now Mr. Carla dude, can we put $4,000 down and then get a loan from a bank for only $1,000, and we'll go ahead and we'll own this car. They're like, we talked to every single bank. They're like, oh, we hit up 6, 7. We put so many hard inquiries on my credit report, by the way. And,
yeah, that ain't good.
Did all that, and we can't get anyone to lend you even $1,000. But what we can do is, we looked at your wife's income, and she makes enough money to get a brand new car today, a 2018. This is at the time when it was. You can drive it off the lot. It has 3 miles on it. And we were, of course, you're like, give it here, brand new. And we made that decision. The interest on that bitch, the interest on it is more than the car is worth.
Well, I mean, even if it was like 7%, man, and you're talking 20, 30 grand, you're going to pay, that thing's going to lose 6 grand right off the top. And then you're going to pay 15,000 or whatever more than what it was. You'll pay 42 for that car.
Right now, if
that was 30.
Any young people in our chat right now have no idea what we're talking about. As soon as you started talking numbers, they just blanked out.
Oh yeah,
that's for the young people to put it in perspective.
They don't teach you interest. They don't tell you, oh yeah, you can buy that house for 160 grand, even at a 4%, but you're still going to pay 320 for it over 30 years.
Yeah,
like, that's just simple. That's not even. It doesn't matter what your payments are, how much you can afford. Like that $160,000 at 4% over 30 years turns into 325.
Yep.
Not, and obviously nobody can really afford to just go buy the house. But if they just told me that in school, that would put it in your head. Like, oh shit, interest adds up. So when you get that $15,000 truck over 5 years, you're gonna pay 26 for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, so question, Doc, I got a question for you. So I think of all 4 of us, you and I are the only 2 that have kids in the age of living on their own. Like, have you had your son or any, your son look at a place and be like, oh, well, I make, $1,500 a month. But it's only $1,000 for this apartment. Like, as your kid,
they have no idea that you actually have to make 3 times that amount.
You're right. That's the point I'm making. And you get a lot of these young people that they're like, oh, okay, look, I make 1,500. This is only 1,000. It's like you're not factoring in even the basic things like your car insurance or gas for your car, this and that. Then you start getting into the real nitty gritty that people don't think about. Toilet paper, like that stuff is expensive, man.
Bruh.
Food.
Show your kids one time how much the electricity bill is for running all of those big screen TVs, video game systems. The fact they won't turn the damn lights off no matter what room they go into. Show them.
I know for my house, I know exactly how much all the bills are because I've had these conversations with my parents.
Yeah, internet.
Do you understand that, dude? Because I had to have the fastest internet because if it starts to lag online and they die, they get upset, Dad. I'll tell you right now, my
trying to watch TikTok and it keeps buffering.
My internet bill is almost $300, and that's just for the fastest internet and basic cable. That's all I have. No house phone, no cell phones through them. It's 250 something, 60 something, and then
I think that the same guy that sold you a car.
I think one random big thing that I think will be a big generational difference between like you guys and my generation and younger is none of us are gonna get cable. Cable's gonna die with our generation.
Oh yeah,
it's all Hulu, Netflix, Amazon, HBO.
It comes out to the same cost.
Oh yeah, that's what I have now. I got rid of all the cable boxes. You don't need it no more. They got an app. They got an Xfinity app or whatever the hell. I mean, you can just put that on your smart TV.
Yeah, I mean, either got Xboxes hooked up or Roku boxes or smart TVs. So we stream Netflix, Hulu, HBO, fucking whatever, Amazon Prime. But you got those 4 things that totals up to like $55 a month or $60 a month, whatever it is. But then you look at that and it's like, well, that's what cable used to be before it got super expensive. So really,
it's super expensive.
Yeah, because they don't got nobody using it, so they got to jack the price way up.
Yep. Mine is so huge because, like I said, there is nothing that's bigger than this. They literally had to send me a special modem that I had to hook up in my house with like 6 different cables and all this other shit because I have the fastest that they have, and being the fact that all day long, from sun up to sundown, I have 7 to 8 people, depending on if my other son's down here from South Carolina, 7 to 8 people running on the internet all day long to keep up with those speeds and to not be overcharged by the because that's another thing. If you get the basic plan and then you go over in data, this starts to go $60 extra, $80 extra. Oh, I got so tired of getting overcharged. And I said, if my bill is going to be almost $300 a month anyways, I want it at a flat rate. Like, just go ahead and give it to me in the 200 something range anyways, and give me the fastest thing you have. And I'm talking about, like, if I can actually, I'll see if I can take a picture of it later on. This thing kind of looks like an old, like a flat top engine in an old, like 70s Camaro. Like this is I got like a modem thing in this bitch. So
better start making some dial-up noises.
You know what I'm saying? Just to make sure that these kids don't ever have to struggle with dying because of lag online.
Yeah, and my son's 9, and he, like, his tablet just broke. He's had it for like 2 years. It's like a Samsung 10-inch, whatever the fuck. He was going to plug it in, and the inside of the charger port just like folded over. So like nothing he did wrong, and I thought he was gonna have a meltdown, and he handled it pretty well. And he's like, "Oh, that sucks." And I was like, "All right, I'll try to fix it, or I'll get you. Maybe we'll look at getting you a new one." And right away, he's like, "Well, how much does that cost?" And I was like, "Well, Dad paid like $340." He goes, "Wow, that's a lot." He goes, "Well, Dad, if it takes a little while, that's all right." Like, he fully understood, and I was like, "See, now I know I'm doing something right." You know, like I know I'm doing something right because he didn't freak out right away and go, "Well, that's just go get one." Yeah. So he is on like an old phone for like 3 weeks now, and I've had all the parts, and I'm like, "Well, he isn't complaining, so I'll just let him play with this for a little bit." But every time something happens, he's like, "Well, how much does that cost?" Because I always tell him, like, "Dude, you just broke that toy. Dad had to work really hard for that fucking $18 toy, and you just broke it because you were being rough." And that
that's a big thing that a lot of kids don't understand is how much shit costs. Like my brothers, they'll be like, "Oh, well, can you lend me $20 for this, that, and the other?" I'm like, that's a whole hour of me working.
Exactly.
For your stupid ass fucking game that I don't care about.
And
I'm like, bro, I'm like, yeah, I'll lend you that money, but what are you gonna do for me? I'm like, what do I get out of this?
A lot of that, though, falls on the parents, in my opinion, because I know Doc told a story earlier about his kid and how, you know, he does things and, you know, he's taking steps to do things on his own. He didn't have to coach him. He didn't have to, you know what I mean? He's got a plan. And Carnage, you just shared with us about your son. So let me share with you guys my experience with my kids. Like, there was actually a time when we could not afford to buy the kids anything for Christmas. And we were always upfront with our kids because I'll be honest, now to each their own. I didn't tell my kids there was a Santa Claus. I mean, I kind of wish I had let them do that, but I never told them there wasn't. I just never told them there was. You know, they knew that the stuff that they got came from my hard work, but there was a time when we couldn't get them anything, and they were like, "Dad, don't worry about it. You know, we know you and Mom do the best you can, and you get us stuff throughout the year, all the stuff we need, and, you know, school shopping and all that stuff. So, like, it's cool." Like, and we literally couldn't afford to get him anything that year. But, like, the fact that they have that kind of mentality because of the way that my wife and I have raised them to know that there's times when, you know, things just don't work out was like, you know, that's crazy. And if we had more people like that, raising their children like that, to understand life and that curveballs get thrown and things happen and not everything has to come to you just because it's Christmas. I have to get stuff and it's got to be the newest, latest.
I need the new iPhone.
Yeah, I mean, like, it falls on the parents. So, like, half of the blame. I mean, anybody that's listened to this so far, if you've even made it this far, I don't think anybody in here saying that it's all of young people's fault. What we're saying is that there's a shared between the two. It's the parenting that needs to be done properly, some proper parenting, and it also has to be, you know, the younger people listening to the parenting and the teaching. So it takes both.
People need to just stop being assholes, just as a general blanket statement. Don't be an ass.
Yeah, like I said, these days, man, if the internet goes out, they'll go in the garage and build a bomb.
True.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's gotten too far. And like I said, the reason why I wanted to do this whole podcast, man, is just that, like, it does fall on the parents. It falls on the parents 1,000% to tell your children that what matters in life. that everything that you need to do in life, you have to work for, you have to strive for it. That you don't mean that what show them how much things cost. Sit them down and show them the bills. Sit them down and you know, let them know this is what everything costs. This is how there's been points in times where me and mommy have literally struggled. We've literally had to decide how we were going to feed you guys that night, and whether or not it was going to be peanut butter and jelly, ramen noodles, or whatever it was. And thank God you were at a younger age, so that way you wouldn't have been, you know, too embarrassed by this. And actually, your diet consisted of ramen noodles and peanut butter and jelly, so you didn't mind too much. You know what I'm saying? But
I'll say, like, so when I was younger and I wanted something, like I was into skateboarding when I was younger and video games. Like if I wanted like a new video game, and my dad would be like, well, how much was it? Like I wanted the Nintendo 64, and I was like, it's like $150. And he goes, well, you better start doing a lot of shit because I ain't got $150 for you. And in my head, I knew that he did have the money, but it wasn't that. So like I was going over, I was like 8 or 9. I was going over by my grandparents, and I was planting all of his tomatoes, cutting his grass, you know, watering his garden, his flowers, picking things, wiping things down in the house, helping them out, just whatever they said. And he'd give me like $5-10 in like singles. And it took me like 3 months, but I was over there like 3-4 times a week. And I paid for that Nintendo 64 in singles and I think a $5 bill. And that lady at Kmart back then was like, what the fuck? You're going to make me count this? And my dad's like, he's paying for it by himself. And she's like, I don't even care. Like she didn't want to count the money. And then I ended up like not even having enough and not realizing that it didn't come with a game. So then my dad was like, all right, well, since you worked that hard, he bought me like the Mario Kart 64 or whatever. You know what I mean? Because they came with one controller and no game. And he was like, well, I'll get you the game. So right away when I was like 8 or 9, I learned like, oh, if I want that. And he owned a roofing company. So as soon as I was like, hey, can I get a skateboard? And he's like, how much? I was like, $65. He's like, come shovel shingles Saturday morning for half a day and I'll buy you that skateboard. And I would just be there shoveling shingles. And so for now, like I'm trying to translate that into my kid's like 8 or 9, and he's playing games on his phone and his tablet and Xbox, Minecraft, whatever. And he's like, hey, I want all these skin packs. And I'm like, how much? He's like, $15. And I'm like, well, you got to clean the basement. You got to do this. You got to go clean up the dog poop. And then I'll give you $5. And he's like, only $5? And I'm like, yeah, do that for 3 weeks. And then you can buy the whatever fucking skin you want that don't even affect how the game plays, you know?
So hey, I got a question for you, Carnage, then. So let me ask you, and then I'll respond with how I do mine. Do you have set like chores for your kids that they do free of charge, or do you pay them like an allowance for doing chores?
We just had to talk with them this week. He wants to start making money, and I was like, all right, you can start doing stuff. So every night, we don't make them clean their entire room, but they got like 10 or 15 minutes. She puts a timer on like the microwave. So the 5-year-old and the 9-year-old, she hits that timer. She goes, go. And they go clean their rooms for 15 minutes. So generally they get like 80% of the way clean, but then that way they're not complaining about it and they're not mad about it. They go do that 15 minutes. And then she goes, okay, the time is up and the room's pretty clean. And then she'll go up there and help them finish it up. So it's never an argument, but they know like every night they got to do that. And now he wants to start doing that. So that's when we started implementing like, all right, there's like a playroom in the basement outside of my stream room. So he can start cleaning that up because usually she just does that because the kids that she watches kind of make that mess. So it's not even his. Yeah. So he can clean that up and then he can start cleaning up dog poop and he's old enough to like run the vacuum, you know, stuff like that. So we're going to start implementing those things. So he's going to clean his room for free. Like that's just what you got to do. You got to clean the room, make your bed, that kind of stuff. But then if he cleans extra and does the extra things, then we'll start giving him like $5 a week. So he can get those little bit of extra things. Yeah. If he wants a new toy or he wants something on his app or his dinosaur game or, you know, whatever.
Love it. I love it, bro.
What I think should be instilled in early ages is that, once again, we're talking about how life's going to be when you get older. So yeah, it sounds weird to be bribing or paying your children to do certain things. But if you actually think about it, that's exactly how life works. Like you go to work to do these things and you get a paycheck. And with that paycheck, you can go spend it on whatever you want. Hopefully you use it for bills. Other people use it for dumber stuff, but I mean that's the way that life is. So I took like I said, both my son, my 15-year-old, they both have credit cards or debit cards. And whenever I feel like that they've done up to par, where I think, you know, go do this, and you're the room, you know, whatever it is, I'll say to them, this needs to be done. And for every job that you do, depending on difficulty of it, because I mean I ain't going to give you the same amount to, you know, the scrub toilets or the same thing where you vacuum. I mean, I'm sorry. It's a little difference between the two. But like, I mean, and like I said, I transfer money from my account over to their account, and he's got it to spend it. He's in high school now, so he use it to get from the vending machines or whatever he wants to save up for. You know what I mean? And he's got it. So like I said, it's up to us as parents to let our kids know that this is basically how society is. This is how things work. If you want something, you have to earn it. You have to do something that somebody else wants you to do, no matter how much you hate it, to be able to get what you want. And like I said, so instilling that in your household, people are like, well, that's stupid. You make them earn this. Yeah, that's like I said. Once they leave your house, does anybody stand up for the McDonald's workers? Is everybody out there going, he shouldn't have to flip those burgers for his paycheck?
He's leaving.
He's got that graduation, man.
It's all right.
Thanks for having me, Doc.
Beef.
Bye, guys.
Hey, brother, I'll catch you on stream, man. It was good meeting you.
I appreciate your young thoughts and stuff, no matter how wrong they are. No, I'm just
I'm still gonna have the YouTube pulled up, so I'll comment every now.
No matter how ugly you are, we still kind of like you.
Hey, bald and beautiful, Kind
of looks like me, so I mean.
Well, I take that back. You're still 23. Hit me up when you're 24, and I'll probably like you.
Yeah, you're right.
All right, dude.
Nobody likes you when you're 23. Later, brother.
Bye, guys.
So, Doc, check your Discord real quick too. Okay. Oh, whoa! I just got real close. How you doing?
Yeah, we got.
Yeah, I seen that in the chat from oh boy.
Yeah, Josh. But I wanted to comment real quick too on yours, Carnage. Like you said earlier, like in what Doc was kind of talking about. My God, how can I? Yeah, there we go.
I can't even move my camera. It's cheap as fuck.
But
I'll just lean back.
Like one thing that we've done with our kids is they've always had a chore or two. So, and it's not anything that's like crazy because we do realize they go to school, you know, well, my daughter doesn't anymore, but at the time they go to school, they got practice or whatever. So when they come home, it's not like they have a lot of time and they need time to themselves. You know, sometimes you can overwork kids to where they do way too much. But so like my daughter just does dishes. That's all she did. And my son does trash and cuts the grass and like sweeps the floor. The reason why he gets the grass, obviously, is because it's like a once a week thing, and the trash and stuff was easier than the dishes, so it kind of evened out. Yeah, those were their. This is you're responsible for, and we not only did we just give them this, but we talked to them and explained why we do what we do. Like when mom and dad comes home and we got to, you know, clean up the bathroom, or we got to do this, or we got to do laundry. Nobody pays us to do that. That's just part of life. So they had those part of life chores. Now, if they wanted to make extra money, they could be like, hey, can I do extra? And then in that case, yeah, I'd give you something to do and you could make some extra money. So yeah, like I tip my hat to you, Carnage, because I'm not going to lie, dude. I've not ran into a whole lot of people that go with that same mentality. So the fact that you said that just completely blew my mind, dude.
Well, I mean, like I said, man, that's from when I was young, man. My dad owned a roofing company. So when I was 10 years old shoveling shingles, and I'm in high school doing the work program and I'm making $16 an hour. And the teacher's like, fucking, you make more than me. What are you doing? I was like shoveling rocks for 8 hours a day after I get out of school at 11 o'clock and I'm shoveling rocks off of a roof so we can put new rubber down. And he's like, all right. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm also up there with 40-year-old men and I'm working harder than them or as hard as them. And because my dad owned the roofing company, he was half of it and his partner was half of it. I worked for his partner, not actually right underneath my father most of the time. Right. But he's like, and when my dad found out I was making $11 an hour or whatever when I was 12 years old, he's like, what the fuck are you paying him so much for? And the guy's name was Dave. He goes, well, when I see him work for, you know, the entire time straight and everyone else does a couple things, they stand around, but he's really just working hard the whole time and pushing it and sweating. And he doesn't take as long of breaks. He doesn't take as many breaks. Like, I'm going to pay him a good amount. And so for me, then I started, it kind of fucked with me because I'm 12 years old and I'm getting $400 paychecks because they were paying me cash. And so me and all my friends, I'm like, dude, I got all the video games. You want to go to Pizza Hut? Let's go see a movie. I didn't understand what money was doing. So it fucked me up a little bit. He taught me how to work really hard, but he didn't teach me what the fuck the money was. He's like, oh, it's money. You're going to make more next week. Just have fun. And I was like, okay. Yeah. So that's kind of been what I'm getting older now. And I'm still like, now I make good money because I've been working hard my whole life. And like I said, I got this, I can buy all this shit and do dumb things. And then I'm like, oh, fuck, that was a lot of money, but like I'm having fun.
Yeah.
So my son, in the same aspect, he goes, well, every time you want something, you buy it and it just shows up in the mail. And I'm like, well, yeah, dude, but dad goes to work and he works really hard. And he's like, oh, okay. So like now that he's 9, and like I said, I can get him to do some of those chores. And he's not asking for big amounts yet. He is not asking for like a PlayStation or something where I'm like, hey man, that's $500 fucking. We're gonna have to work something out. He's asking for like, can I get this $10 game or on fucking Minecraft? Their add-ons $15, and I'm like, all right, well, yeah, dude, you can clean up dog poop for a week. I'll give you $5 if you want to help dad clean the garage or wash the cars, or I can think of other things for him to do just to help, so he can learn that if I do this work, I'll get that little bit extra money. But he hasn't asked for nothing big yet, so I don't know how I'll handle that when he's like I said, if his best friend's got a PlayStation and I got 2 Xboxes,
right?
So lots of other games I can play. I don't know.
I know a couple of times you've mentioned, a few times you've mentioned the stuff that you buy, but at the end of the day, you're taking care of your priorities first. I'm assuming.
Oh
right?
yeah.
And that's what a lot of people need to understand. Like, look, you can play. I work hard, play hard.
Oh yeah.
I work hard and I get stuff done. Once all that I need to get taken care of is taken care of, then you can play. And there's a lot of people that have that mentality that, look, I don't want to work hard and take care of my stuff, which is why they live at home, because all they want to do is get some money and go, play all day long. Like, no, man, life isn't that way. It's not just a big playground. Like, we literally have to handle our stuff,
And I'm kind of in the opposite side of like Doc. Like, Doc stays at home and takes care of all the kids, as to where like my wife and my mom are home. So like when I come home, I don't have to be mad about like, man, now I got to do the fucking dishes and I got to vacuum. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like that takes a lot of the stress off of me.
Yeah.
And I don't have to, like, I cook dinner, no doubt. Like I'll grill out or, I'll cook some certain meals, but we don't have to have that argument. So it works out nice for us. Cause everyone's like, oh, why would you let her sit at home? And I'm like, well, this is how we do it. It works good for our kids. It works good for us. We're not arguing all the time. Like it might be big time different. Maybe we wouldn't have as much time to work with the kids if we were arguing between ourselves all the time. So like that's what I got to earlier, is that it was nice for us we kind of had the same parenting ideas. And so it kind of came together nice.
Yeah, it works out because me and my wife are the same. We kind of have the same philosophies, and I follow suit with you. I mean, my kids obviously are older now, so my wife does work. But for the longest time, she didn't work, and it was just me, and I did what I had to do to take care of everything at the house so she could be at home. Yeah. And I didn't want some stranger raising my kid. I wanted my wife teaching our kids the values and doing it out of love and care and concern and parenting and developing them. So yeah, man, I mean, that's awesome.
And just getting more of like, we've been talking about this all the time, like how I was raised and how I would like to see things go. Is to get them. And like Animal just commented, I'd like to see your kid ask you for a PlayStation. I'm pretty much anti-PlayStation guy because I've never really played it. He would just like to see my kid go, I want a PlayStation, just so he could see me go, not in this house.
All right, 9-year-old, if you're watching, go ask your dad for a PlayStation.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyways, I think that, like I said, and the reason why I'm going to explain some things about myself is, at 15 years old, I went to the high school and I got my own work permit on my own. You know what I'm saying? Like I wanted to earn my own money, and I wanted to take care of myself and do things, and just being an adult, basically, was what I considered it, so I want to get out there and work. And the thing is that I had a kind of a messed up household and stuff. And then my dad actually had a nervous breakdown and couldn't work as much. And we ended up losing a lot, even a little bit of money that we had even less. And basically I was 15 years old working at Chick-fil-A, literally helping my mother with bills off my Chick-fil-A, paycheck. And the thing is that once again, and this is the thing I'm teaching my kids now, and they're understanding, but they're not understanding. I never got a career. I will tell y'all right now, the reason why I'm a stay-at-home dad is because I never got a career. I had many, 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 many jobs. I fell into the issue. I've worked everything from a customer services rep in a big company, all the way to I did traffic work, out there in the 100-degree weather, flagging cars through almost hitting me. You know what I mean? I've done every job I could get to pay bills, but I never got a career.
I thought you were a master meat slinger.
That's the videos that I have, and I told you that I'm trying to make money on the side, and that's Anyways,
He hasn't gone big with that yet. He hasn't gone big with the big.
Yeah, it's it's not legal in this country yet. But anyways, so so basically when me and my wife got together and she moved up so fast in her company, way faster than anybody had ever given me a chance to, because like I said, I was kind of the bigger, broader shoulder dude. So I was the dude that, like, in the company, we're not going to give you an opportunity to be a manager. We're not going to give you an opportunity to be an assistant manager, anything like that. You're the dude that's going to put these 90, 100, 120-pound things on your back and carry them. You are a grunt. I was actually told that to my face.
That's what happens. You look like the guy that picks things up and puts it down. So that's what you get stuck into.
I was intelligent. I got along with it. So many customers, people love me. People would come into the stores just for me. I was never gotten the opportunity. My wife, I'm talking about, I don't know how she did it. Maybe it's the personality, maybe we're hardworking, whatever. She came in as a cashier. 2 months later, she was a third key. 2 months later, she was an assistant. And a couple of years later, she was a store manager. And she's now, I mean, she could be a district right now, but she's actually the most highest paid store manager in not just the district, but the area, because of how long she's been with the company and the way that she trains other store managers. You know what I'm saying? So she's gotten to that point. When I saw how well she did, I was like, me going out here making minimum wage, even in my 30s, people aren't giving me the opportunities to move up in the company and actually be a valuable employee in their company. They just want me to do all the physical stuff. There was points in times where I was the only male employee at my jobs. And so guess who had to do all the shit work?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, been there.
I was gonna say, like, is she able to, like, teach your kids how she did it and how she started at the bottom and worked her way up? Is she able to, like, instill that, like, hey, mom started here doing nothing, and now, not even telling them, like, how much money, but, like, now mom is here because mom worked hard, or she did this.
Because obviously, obviously she and I, didn't do things right. She got pregnant at a young age. She dropped out of high school. She doesn't have a high school diploma. She doesn't have any of those things that she should have had. You know what I'm saying? So, what now?
Said, don't teach your daughter that.
Oh, no.
Skip that part when you're telling her how mommy got to the top.
No, but but she knows. But like I said, though, her example is that I screwed up. I screwed up in life. I made mistakes that I shouldn't have made. I had this and this happen to me. I thought, because actually, if I actually get into my actual story here, my oldest son is my 19-year-old is not actually blood mine. I have been raising him since he was 2 years old. And then when me and my wife got together, now I also had a 2-year-old son. Now, it's a long story because we actually dated in teenage years, got together 7 years later, blah, blah, blah. We both had kids. But it's, she was kind of beaten down mentally to the point to where she believed with her ex that she had to live off him. She had to, she wasn't anything without him. She
that old school mentality.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? She believed this until she got with me, until she got back with me, until she was, I found my first love again, and was able to take her in and be like, I actually told her, I'm like, you can do whatever you want. If you want to be the independent mom working all the time, you can do that. And if you want to stay in the house and never work a day of your life, I can do either way. And she told me, I want to work. She's like, I never had the opportunity to work. I never had the opportunity to prove myself. So I want to go do it. And like I said, she went out and she had little jobs here and there, little part-time, little seasonal jobs, whatever. But when she got this job and she moved up so quickly and I saw how good she was, I was like, it would be selfish and stupid, downright stupid. If there's any men out here who say that, oh, well, I'm the man, so I have to take care of this and I have to pay for this and blah, 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 and your wife has better opportunities than you and can get paid more than you, that's the most ridiculous thing I've heard. There's no penis or vagina when it comes to who can bring in more money. So, 1,000%, I love the fact that I'm able to wake up every single day and see my kids' faces and teach them life lessons and teach them how to be a man. And that has nothing to do with whether or not you're going to earn an income. It's whether or not you take care of yourself. So that way, when you do find someone that you're in love with, you can take care of them as well. And if that at that point in time, she says to you, I'm the breadwinner. I'm the independent one. I'm going to go do this, whatever like that. I got more opportunities than you. I can make more money, blah, blah, blah. You can sit there and say that, this paycheck doesn't make me a man. It's being here from my child. When I woke up in the morning, I never saw my dad's face He was already gone 5 o'clock in the morning off work. My dad was a shoe repairman. I don't know. So this tells you how old of an industry. Because my grandfather was
back in the
repairman.
40s, huh?
Yeah, my grandfather was a shoe repairman. Then he taught my dad how to be a shoe repairman. And down in Atlanta, shoe repair shops used to be in every mall, every single mall. I'm talking about all around Atlanta. They used to be in every single mall. So I've been through every parts of Atlanta growing up because I used to go to work with my dad. But he was gone at 5 a.m. and wouldn't get home until 11 or midnight. He used to come home disgusting and stinking and just like literally my mom had to wash a couple of times because of just how much things he would put through himself. He would work 2 to 3 jobs at certain points just to be able to take care of all of us. And I resented him for a long time. I hated him all by my dad. Oh, he never taught me how to shave. He never taught me how to throw a ball. He never taught me all the things. But the fact of the matter was he was never, ever home. I never saw my dad. And when I did see my dad, he was actually, he would hand me things to show me what he did to earn it. He would literally be like, guess what? We're having steaks tonight. Guess what? You know what I mean? We're get in the car, we're going to Blockbuster. You know what I mean? He would actually show me the reason why he wasn't there. So it took me a while to understand at a young age, the sacrifices that my father made. When I just looked at it as, oh, he's an absentee parent. He ain't here. He's not teaching me how to be a man, blah, blah, blah. I blamed him for a long time. But then I realized what he did to make sure that we were safe, to make sure that we had a roof over our head, that we had food in our stomach. Maybe we didn't have some of the greatest things in the world, but we had enough to get by. We had enough to be happy with. And that's what he was concerned with. And that's the way I am right now in my life. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I may never work again. I may, just be being in the house with my children and taking care of and that's the thing I do. My 11-year-old son, I didn't bring that part up. My 11-year-old son is autistic. He will probably never be able to live out on his own and never be able to really take care of himself. So it's going to be a situation where daddy and him are together till daddy's gone. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be me and him. I'm always going to be there with him and always take care of him. And you know what I mean? We're both going to be, I'm going to be in my 60s and he's going to be whatever age. We're both going to be in our underwear on the couch eating graham crackers. You know what I'm saying? So
living the real life,
so I'm ready for that. I'm prepared for that. But like I said, I sit my children down all the time and I have conversations with them. I tell them what's important and what matters. And like I said, whether or not you decide to be a construction worker or you decide to be a stay-at-home dad, either way, you're doing something that matters. You're still being a man. You're still, as long as you're supporting your family one way or another, you can support it from home or you can support them from your job. And right. I can tell you right now that it's not a lie when people say this, and I don't mean physically, but the mental strain of being able to like tell my kids, and to make my boys into men, to worry about them failing and all the things they're going to go through and the mistakes they're going to make and everything else like that. I would much rather just get up in the morning at 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, and go off to work and not have to worry about none of that stuff at home. I would just be like, let them do what they got to do. When they're 18 years old, I'm kicking them out. I would love to be, think that. But it's now I'm actually concerned. I'm setting them up for their futures. I literally, like I said, opening up bank accounts for them. I'm figuring out what they want to do for a career, telling them exactly the plans, researching and looking it up and saying, okay, you got to go to this type of college. You got to get this type of diploma. You got to have this and this, this amount of money to be able to pay for these classes. You got to get this loan. You got to get this. I am setting up their whole lives, their whole future from home. And this is something that, like I said, I never had with my dad. And I'm hoping at the end of my life, at the end of they put my tombstone up or whatever it is, or cremate me, whatever they end up doing with me. I hope somewhere on that urn or on that tombstone, it just says a good father, a loving and caring father. Because like I said, I right now, at least, my dad ain't bringing home the bacon, but I'm in this damn bitch cooking it. And I'm making sure that you're prepared for life. And I'm teaching you how to cook it too. That's another thing. My 18-year-old son that lives in South Carolina, he's going to school for culinary school. He actually would leave the high school and they would take him and bus him over to the culinary school, and he was learning through that. Now, on top of his doing culinary thing, he also wants to be a bartender. The thing is, he's 18 years old. He has to wait till he's 21 years old to get the bartending license and, and actually be a part of that. So he basically told me, until then, Dad, I'm going to be working at this kitchen, or I'm going to, work this restaurant, or whatever it is. You know what I mean? And I've done the research. I found out what he's got to do. I found a bartending company for him that once he does the classes, not only is it a bartending company, but it's also a staffing company, which means they'll find jobs for him. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm researching this. Whatever my kids tell me they want to do, I look into it. My son told me he wanted to be a cop. I went and I signed him up for what was called a Sheriff's Explorer program. And I got him into, he was 15, 16 years old, going in there with grown men and working out with them and doing training and learning laws and everything else. Like, Daddy signed them all up for that. You know what I'm saying? So it's I'm doing everything I can to raise men. And I'm doing, like I told y'all before, man, like we all got daughters, and it's so much different with a daughter. And I got to figure out what it is I can instill into my daughter to go, oh yeah, Daddy did teach me this and show me this and teach me that this is what matters and blah, blah, blah. But I think a lot of that will also come from my wife, because like I said, she did decide at a later time in life to be the hardworking, go to work every day mom and blah, 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 and not to stay at home one. So I guess it's really going to be about what it is, what path my daughter chooses, and where she figures out what she wants to be and what she wants to do. So far, I think she just said veterinarian because she likes Doc McStuffins. So
yeah,
you know what I mean. So
yeah, that'll happen.
I'm gonna figure all that out though. I have plans for all of them. Also, like I said, my son's 11 years old and he's autistic, and he can't wait till he's 15 years old because he wants to get a job at Chick-fil-A. That was Daddy's first job, and he absolutely loves Chick-fil-A, and he cannot wait to get a job there. And like I said, and I know that the Chick-fil-A is the type of company that also would give my son a job, and he would be able to help there.
Yeah.
Whether, even with his struggles.
They'll find something for him to do for sure.
Yeah.
Even if he's just hanging out telling people hi. But I think Warrior's got to go.
Oh, you gotta go, man. You gotta head out.
Yeah. I got the nephews, man. So I got to dip, man. Right, I would love to keep talking.
I'm gonna call this anyways, man. We hit the 2 hours, man. I didn't think we were going to. We did again.
Yeah, we're about there. Check your Discord though, man. Joshua asked a great question earlier. I
was trying to get to it. We didn't make it.
Yeah, we didn't really get to it, but I hope that Joshua was able to tune in to another one, and maybe Doc, you could consider that for a second episode for this. But basically, what his question was, what could we, with all this information we're throwing out, like what are things we would suggest, to people who aren't parents yet, but maybe look into that in the future or whatever. So,
okay. Yeah, I did see that earlier, man. And like I said, Warrior, if you got to go, then you can go ahead and head out, man. But I'm going to actually answer this question, and it'll be one of the last things. But I am planning on doing another one of these, y'all. Believe me, I mean, fatherhood cannot be summed up in 2 hours, anyways.
No, it can't. But I'll let you cover this, man.
Yes.
Much love, y'all. I'll catch you guys later.
Great meeting you, man. I'll catch you on stream for sure.
Yep. I followed you, Carnage. I'll be there. Guys, go follow these great people. Go follow them. All right. Great guys. Beefy, Carnage, Doc. You can't go wrong. Love you all. Peace.
All right, man.
Later, man.
All right. Let's boom. All right. So basically, I'll put it like this, Josh. I don't want to, we're not going to draw on too much longer, but I'll put it like this. I think the one thing that I wanted behind this podcast that I did is that the one lesson is that it's up to us as parents. It's up to us as parents to instill some of these values, some of these morals, some of these, life lessons in them, to let them know what life's going to be like when they're no longer with us, when they're no longer being protected by mommy and daddy. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't just let YouTube teach them life. Don't just don't shove them in front of the internet. Don't shove them in front of a TV show and be like, watch this, because I don't know what to say to you. Suck it up. You decided to not pull out. You decided to make that child. Now it's time for you to actually live your responsibilities.
Yeah, I'll say that, like I said, when me and Kathy first started hanging out, we were hooking up. I had just gotten divorced at 22. I was with my ex-wife for 11 years. We were like 13 when we got together. We got married when we were like 21, divorced when we were 23 or something. and we were trying to have kids, and it wasn't working. And then when Kathy told me she was pregnant, I was kind of a dick, and I was like, "Fucking ain't mine, peace." And then I thought about it, and I was like, "Well, it has nothing. That's not the kid's fault at all. Like, it had nothing to do. Like, if he, comes out and then she's like, "Yeah, your dad's a dick." Like, he didn't do nothing wrong. So then I was kind of really mean to her right off the bat, and then I thought about it, and I was like, "All right, no, I got to do things the right way." So we ended up working things out, and obviously now it worked out for the better. But it was a big change for me to realize like what my real father did when I was 1, and he just left and never came back. But I forgot about that for a little while because I had such a great stepdad. Yeah. And teaching your kid, like, just not even like you're saying about like, I forget what you just said, but to be like a good person, like you got to take responsibility for your actions. Like I tell my son all the time, like if you're going to play stupid games, you're going to win stupid prizes.
I think that what it is that also just teach your child that, to be respectable. I mean, and like I said, to show respect where it's deserved, and again, you got to earn it as well. Don't think this because mommy and daddy are nice to you and love you and take care of you and we respect you that you deserve that. You got to get out in this real world and you got to earn it. It has to be, you know what I'm saying? You have to be shown that you deserve that.
Exactly.
Because like I said, you're going to go out there and with your little privileged mind, and you can think that you can say and do whatever you want to because mommy and daddy told you could, and you're going to get punched in the mouth. And that's a metaphor for life. That's the real thing is that you need to know that life is difficult. Life is going to be hard. Life is not all rainbows and puppy dogs. And that you need to understand that everything that's going to be given to you in this life, it shouldn't be given to you. It should be earned. You know what I'm saying? There will be government agencies out here and things like that will give you things that you honestly, to be honest, for me and honest with you, people don't deserve. But that's a whole, we'll go on to another thing here, man. As somebody, and I'll let you know right now, man, is that if somebody that grew up the way that I did is somebody that is trying to change things about themselves to make people respect me and see me as a different person. Because I went a majority of my life thinking that I needed to be hard, that I needed to be tough, that I needed to be,
I still got that in me, man. I can't get rid of it.
That I need to make people respect me in a violent way. You know what I'm saying? And growing up that way, I used to revel when people used to tell me that they were afraid of me. I used to like it. I used to be like, yo, that's what you're supposed to be. Da, 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 da. But now when I hear that, and I'm a father, and I mean, maybe I'll even hear that like, oh, we didn't know if we could approach you or your children because of the way that you look or the way that you present yourself or the way that we think that, just our prejudgments. And to hear that, it's not just disappointing, it's an insult.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I want to actually hear from people when they come into my stream or to, they talk to me in general and they say, you seem like a good dude. You seem like somebody that I can talk to, somebody that can understand, things. And, I feel like that you just, you're nice, you're kind, I feel like that even though you're not the same violent, respect me type dude, I feel like you deserve respect because you give people respect. And to hear the nice things that people have been saying about me ever since I started streaming, ever since I started to be a different person as I got older, and actually be able to conversate with people who didn't have to be just like me. I'll be honest with y'all. I didn't have, even though I am partial Caucasian, I didn't have any Caucasian friends until I was in my 20s. I felt like I needed to be around hood ass people all the time because other type people out there wouldn't understand me. When I stopped being that way, when I opened my mind, when I felt like I could make friends of all different types of ethnicities, of suburban or urban backgrounds, different things, is when I've been the happiest in my life. When, what I'm saying, when I've actually found like, yo, at points in time in my life, I was an outcast. I didn't have any friends. I ran into, I ran to my comic books, to the video games. So I was a part of a nerd culture and I didn't even know I was. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just thought I was trying to escape from my environment. I was trying to escape from everything that happened out in my, around me in my life and everything. And you know, and then I found out there's other people out there that did the same thing. There's other people out there that escaped into their nerdness to not have to deal with reality in real life.
I guess that's a big thing too, though. Like that's what I was trying to say is when we had my son, like I was doing the wrong thing and I realized you got to do the right thing. And it's about teaching your kids like right and wrong, but like you can't make them do what they don't want to do. Like you said, it's different raising your daughter than your son or your sons. Mm-hmm. Like you can't force them. Like if you want them to play sports, you can't force them to play sports. Yeah. Like you got to find out what they like. Like you said, you found out you liked comic books and shit like that. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, like that's what you were happy doing. So like that's where I'm at right now with my 9-year-old. Is like I always thought like, yeah, he's gonna play sports. He's gonna be a tough dude. Not realizing that I'm 5'3". He probably ain't gonna be much bigger, so he's not gonna do much of that. Or I'm into like UFC fights and stuff, and he'll watch it for like 3 seconds and he don't give a shit. He's like, nope, not for me. And he'll like go watch videos and play with his dinosaurs and his toys or on his tablet, or go outside and jump on the trampoline. Like he'll go do other things that makes him happy. And I can't make him like the things that me and my buddies are into, like playing shooter games and stuff. He's more into like Minecraft. But when he's like, hey, I want to do this, it's a lot easier to be like, oh, that's what you're into? Then how can I help you do what you enjoy to make you, follow? Because maybe it turns into a passion or something. As to where my daughter is like, the first thing I did is throw a punch, and I regret that because now she just wants to fight all the time.
But I think that, like I said, man, we'll even trying to work our way towards the end here of the stream. I think what I want to say is that as a parent, you got to find a happy medium between the two. Okay, there cannot be the millennial / Gen Z thoughts of where be your kids' best friends, and no matter what they want to do in life, support them and be there for them. And all of that sounds good. All of that sounds good on paper. But when you don't tell your children the harsh realities of life, when you don't tell them that, like, you probably ain't going to be president. You're not going to be an astronaut. No. Mom and dad ain't got enough money to pay for that shit. You got this and this going on. You don't really try that much. You kind of half-ass at most of the things you do in life. I mean, if you don't tell them outright, listen, you probably, all those things that you want to do, all those things that you want to be, I don't see it happening because you're not actually trying, son. Tell them their faults.
Oh,
tell them what's wrong with what's wrong with them. That's the problem. Is that parents don't actually want to say to their kids that there's anything. You're the most special child in the world. Nah. You could do whatever you want. They never want to point out, like, listen, here's where you go wrong. Here's what's wrong with the way that you're approaching this. You half-ass cleaning your room, and I'm giving you money for that, and you think that you're gonna be what, a millionaire for inventing something, or a YouTube star and stuff. You can't bathe, let alone put yourself on a camera.
That's what I'm saying. Like when we're paying them the chores, like we're just about to start paying for the chores, and I was like, hey, but if he goes down there and he half-ass cleans that basement, and we're gonna give him $5 a week to do it, 3 times, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, he's gonna clean the basement or whatever. If he half-ass it, I'm gonna give him $3. Like if he's gonna miss a day, he's, what I mean? There's gotta be consequences for all the actions. And like I said, I tell him all the time, if you're going to play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. Like lots of times he does some wild shit. And I'm like, hey, man, what'd you do that for? And he goes, I don't know. I thought it'd be fun. I'm like, all right, well, now this is going to happen. And you see his face like.
No. Yep. So like I said, the kind of lesson of this whole episode is that you support your kids' dreams. All of that sounds wonderful. Be there for them, support them, whatever like that. But as they get older, expose them more and more to the harsh realities of life. You know what I'm saying? Don't tell them at a young age. Don't be like, go to them 5, be like, you know what? You could be a veterinarian, but you're kind of stupid. Don't say nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? But find ways to express to your children about how life really is, not just how life is in mommy and daddy's house.
Just try to get them to. The biggest thing I'm trying to get them to do is express who they are, like find who they are. Because like I didn't know who I was for a long time, man. I didn't until I was like 24. Yeah. Then I figured out like, oh, I'm the guy that's like going to be loud and obnoxious and like really just a great friend. And some people are going to love me and some people are going to hate me. I was always worried about what people were going to think. And so I'm trying to get my kids, like, because they're both a little quirky or weird, funny. And I'm like, hey man, if somebody doesn't like you, it's fine. They don't have to like you.
Yeah. I mean, I'll put it like this, man. Like I'm still hood. I'm still hood as hell. I ain't gonna lie to you. You know what I'm saying? Like I talk to everybody now. the fact that I'm even having me able to have this conversation with y'all and y'all can understand me means that I made a jump in my life to where people can actually comprehend a lot of things that I was saying.
Yeah, you told me about that.
Didn't used to be like that. But I'll tell you right now, I'm hood as hell. But I got nerd kids. I got straight up nerd kids. Like I exposed them to the nerd things.
But you said that's what you escaped from. You escaped and went into the nerd shit.
So I showed them what made me happy. I showed them what made me happy, and it made them happy. So
that's what I'm saying.
You know, I got. I'll say like that. My middle son, he's kind of the hoodest one, but even him, he's still like, he's into fashion and shoes, and you know what I'm saying, like he was into the things I was into when I was a teenager, but still loves video games, still loves comics, still loves going out and doing nerd stuff with dad. He goes out doing retro hunting with me and stuff when I go out yard sailing and stuff like that. Like he's still into the stuff that probably his friends would consider corny, but he still got a love for all that. So I'm raising a bunch of hood nerds, and I'm proud of that.
I'm saying, and they might have to be two different people, because they might have to be, somebody a little bit different around their friends. But as long as they know, like, what's going on, and they don't know who they want to be, like, obviously, if they're trying to make friends, they might act a little bit different, but you got to kind of balance that with everything, really.
So I'll put it like this, man. We're up over 2 hours here, man. I'll put it like this: the lesson of this podcast, and we're gonna go on to another one.
Feed your kids and put them in the closet.
Day. Yeah. Let your kids be who they want to be, but also tell them the risks of the choices that they're making. You know what I'm saying? Stop waiting until they're in their 20s and they feel like they can say and do whatever they want to, and they're getting their asses beat in public places. You know what I'm saying? Like just raise your kid. Actually, how about, you know what? There you go. Raise your kids. That's them.
About it.
Actually, raise them.
Raise your kids.
You know what I'm saying?
There's
like
consequences for all their actions. You can't let your kids run the house.
Actually, be there. That's all you gotta do. You know what? Be there. Talk to them sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Like, do something more than what you done. That's all I'm gonna put it as. So, all right, man. We're gonna end this off here, man.
Hey, man, we'll keep doing this, because honestly, I could do this for 3
That's what I'm
hours.
saying. I didn't want this to go 5 hours. That's what I was telling him earlier. So, thank you, everyone that come and hang out, man. Josh, thank you for that follow, man. Everybody that follows on here, I got to check the notifications, man. Thank y'all for everybody coming and hanging out, man. Tink, Frank, all my people, all Warriors people, I love y'all so much, man. Thank y'all, man. Like I said, hopefully me out here running my mouth like this, man, might pay off eventually.
We need to see that sexy face on the camera, man. They're just looking at my ugly ass.
Maybe. But it's an illusion, you know what I'm saying?
It's not an illusion, bro.
So, but all right, y'all. Like I said, much love, y'all. I will see y'all next time on the next podcast. But more than likely, I'm gonna try to have the next podcast be about Paladins. I'm gonna actually have an ex-pro player when he has some time jumping on here, y'all. But yeah. We'll see where all this goes, man. I got some more subjects, more things to talk about too, man, and probably even more passionate than even this. So, y'all have a great night, man. Much love, man.
Oh yeah, thanks for having me.
I'll see. Yeah, man. Carnage, Beef, your Warrior, man. Y'all already know. Thank y'all so much, man. I will see y'all next time. It's your boy, Doc Hyde. I'm out, y'all.